Alright, Psychronize is here and ready for action. We're gonna finish it this time. We're gonna finish the tier list. Whoa! Whoa, my god! I meant to turn that down. Jesus Christ. Oops. You just got here? I just got here too. Isn't that crazy? I thought I was going to be late. I thought I was going to miss the stream, but thankfully I didn't. If you didn't know, I'm actually buddies with Psychronize, and I told him, like, hey, dude, just give me a few minutes. I might have to do some stuff. And he's like, yeah, no worries. I'll probably give you a few minutes before we start the stream. So, like, okay, sick. Wait, 11? Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wait, 3, 6, 9. Oh, shit. Only 11. Still less than Showa and Heisei and... yeah, that's it. This is more than Millennium. Even if you take out Monarch. Which isn't a movie, but it's here because... I don't know. I think it should be here. I think Monarch gets to be on this list. But at the same time, if something like Hanna-Barbera or GTS was here, I wouldn't rank those, because I wouldn't count those. Those are cartoons or whatever. Meanwhile, Monarch is actually, like, a part of the canon lore for the movies. So, like, I'd say it counts. But then again, there's a Skull Island anime. Quote-unquote anime. Like, heavy quotation marks anime. Because it's not an anime. It's just a cartoon. It's 2D animated. And therefore, people call it anime. Because calling something anime makes it cool and more popular. Even if it isn't one. Which the Kong series is not. Well, they just dropped the top 20 Godzilla movies? Well, guess what? If it's not what I agree with, that means it's just objectively false. Because that's how it works in this community. Whenever someone disagrees with you, they're objectively wrong. And they just can't argue their point. And you have to shame them and guilt them and berate them for having a different mindset that you do. This is how it works in this community. And that's not cool. Oh shit, Kong Skull Island isn't on this list. If that was here, I would have ranked it. I might talk about it for like just a tiny bit and see where I'd put it. I don't know, maybe not. But the monkey movies are here though. Oh, that's weird. Like, yeah, it's not a Godzilla movie, but technically is. Hello, people. Just give a few more minutes and see who else shows up. I wish I could see the time on this screen, but I can't. I gotta pull over my phone. Because even on my other monitor, the time's blocked up. I watched a cool video today. It was, I pinned it, or I posted it in my community post. Made by Kaiju Canuck. Just came out today, 6 hours ago. Which was essentially... So I'm assuming you guys have seen it. The, wasn't this Godzilla movies? Yeah, that's all this really is. But KSI seems like it should be here. Because if we're talking about Godzilla vs. Kong and GXK, you can't really have the full context without also having KSI, because it's the same story. Same reason why Monarch's here. Like, yeah, it's not a Godzilla movie. And there's other Godzilla shows that aren't here. but it's a part of the continuity that is primarily movies. I might talk about KSI, I don't know. But as I was saying, Kaiju Canuck video based on... You guys have seen it. Well, probably. I'm assuming you have. The Steven's Toy Reviews video for the GXK figures he made. And I think his response to that, Canuck's response to that video was very elaborative. I liked it. I liked the points he brought up. There were some iffy things I had with that STR video, and I think Kaiju Canuck spoke of said critique rather nicely. There's no bashing, no ill spite. Just critique with some negative feedback. Because nothing's perfect. And he certainly pointed out the not perfect things. While at the same time, still complimenting the positives, which I like. Whenever you see something bad in a thing, your brain often does want to just hyperfixate on that bad thing, and then you start to just think that it's horrible, period. But you gotta remember that not everything's black and white. Sometimes things have good and bad. And it's important to bring credit where it's due and discredit where it's due. It's all about being fair and telling the full truth, which I like. That's why I liked that. What would you call it? Not synopsis. I guess you could call it a review, evaluation, I suppose. An evaluation. I'll call it that, and then we'll just move on from that. What is this down here? This white line on the bottom. What the hell is that? The window's full. Huh. Anyways. Tier list time. Let's just get into it right away, because last few times we did it, I was like, what the hell, we are running out of time. So let's just get into it right away. There's cool figure stuff in the highlights. That's just there for you to look at. It's all cool. Anyways, Godzilla 2014. Well, hold on. We finished off with Godzilla Final Wars. Where did I put it? I put it... Okay, in the middle of great movies. Yeah, okay. Franchise went into a bit of a hiatus. I think it was supposed to just be straight... No, that's right. They did say that they were going to bring it back eventually, I'm pretty sure. But they were taking an indefinite break with the franchise. Yada, yada, yada. Stuff happened. Godzilla 2014. The first American movie in however long the distance between 98 and 2014 is. This is a pretty controversial one even to this day. Some people think it's still the greatest thing ever. Others still think it was really bad. Others think, for the grand scheme of the franchise, it wasn't good. Others disagree with that and say that even if the movie was good or bad, it revived the entirety of the franchise, which that part I'm going to have to agree to. I think that whether or not you liked this movie, or if for some reason it was objectively good or bad, its impact on not just its own franchise, but I think just media as a whole was crazy. Like, people talk about kaiju again, even outside of Godzilla. Just the whole genre of kaiju was revived from that movie, which is crazy. But the movie itself, ignore everything that comes after it. Just look at the movie for what it is. Very realistic ground setting. Massive creatures from an unknown location appearing out of nowhere and showing their faces to reality. The main character being a bomb diffuser in the army, coming back to see his family, realizing his father was up to something, Because in his childhood, he lost his mom and the whole thing. We've seen the movie. On paper, a lot of this stuff sounds great. Man in the army and his crazed dad who's addicted to whatever happened that day. They start to find out the truth behind all of it, realizing it's these giant creatures that an organization has been keeping in hiding. And they have no idea of how to stop them, as they eventually realize that there's two of them, that they might be the last of their kind. Their plan is to repopulate, which would wreck humanity. Wait a minute. Oh my god, you guys can hear that. I'm itching myself, and I didn't know that was picking up on the microphone. Oops. Anyways. Yeah, that sounds cool, right? And then they have no idea how to stop him. But then they find out there's this other creature who was supposedly the apex predator of its time. Oh, you guys couldn't hear it? I couldn't tell. The microphone bar on the hi cat, the microphone thing would like go up every time I scratched my leg. So I'm like, oh shit, can you guys hear that? Anyways, yeah, that movie sounds good on paper, and to an extent, it actually does work rather well in the movie too. But nothing's perfect. This movie sure wasn't. It had issues, like the issues that everyone brings up every 9 seconds when people talk about this film. And unfortunately, they are honest-to-God fair points. Like, the movie's too dark. Yes, it is. It just is. There was a 4K transfer of the movie, however, that fixed that issue. Because I never saw it in theaters, but the theatrical copy, the one that they actually played in theaters, was much more visible. The DVD transfer was garbage. This has happened with other movies too. 2014 is just one of the victims, where it was just so unbelievably dark that you can't see anything. This is the one that they air on public TV too, so good luck watching the movie. But specifically the 4K transfer, if you have a 4K player and the 4K disc, they re-edited the movie to actually be watchable again, which fixes that issue. It fixes that one issue. Another issue. Ford Brody. His archetype for the movie is fine. It's a Godzilla movie. He's a guy in the military. He's a bomb diffuser. Godzilla's all about nuclear bombs and stuff. That's great. That's cool. Having that unique skill makes him an interesting character. Having it be that his father is addicted and crazed to this whole monster stuff going on, that's cool. The fact that he has a family to worry about and he knows that all these monsters are coming and he wants to protect them, that's cool. The fact that he's willing to sacrifice himself and risk dying to protect his family and the people around him by serving his duty is cool. His execution, acting, and dialogue is not cool. Someone could be holding a gun up to the head of his wife in that movie, and at most, like, maybe the corner of his mouth would move a bit. And you go, oh, come on, man, don't do that. It's like we kind of know now, because just recently someone interviewed him about being in the 2014 film, and he was like, I really don't give a shit. But it really seemed like he did not care. Which, I don't know, was his fault? Or everyone else around him just letting him do that? I don't know. Maybe that's what they wanted, but like not exactly. Like that's not what they had in their mind when they watched him act. Like, wow, he's no emotion, perfect. Or if they just didn't catch it, or I don't know. But I think he could have had a better acting performance, especially when you're the lead character and you're who the movie's going to be primarily following. I'd say that needed to be better. Another argument is Joe Brody dying in the movie. I think that's fine. However, I would have personally held off until later. Because he dies when we see the first Muto for the first time. As soon as the kaiju are in the film, he's out. And that's a bit unfortunate, especially when his whole thing was the kaiju. I probably would have had him die somewhere in the final San Fran fight. Having him die's fine. That makes sense. Like having it be like, okay, Ford, it's all in your hands now. It's like I can rest in peace and be with my wife again or whatever, I don't know. But having him die off is fine. It's just I think they could have waited until later, especially when he was such a heavy, crucial part for the first half of the movie. Then he dies and then he just leaves no impact for the rest of the film. Like, I think he could have stayed around for a bit longer, especially if you're going to put that much attention on him for when he is in the movie. The other biggest argument is not enough monster stuff. And then the counter argument to that is we wanted the build of suspense and to savor it. Only show it when absolutely necessary. Obscure them. Don't have them pop up because then they would be oversaturated. I agree with that. I don't want them to be on the screen every 10 seconds doing every single thing. I like seeing that dramatic build-up. The build-up to Godzilla showing up in Honolulu is one of the coolest cinematic build-ups ever that I've ever seen. That stuff was sick. Like the Mutos attacking the airport and people are just going, whoa, what's going on with those explosions over there? Then someone just turns around and just sees the water receding. It's like, oh shit, a tsunami. But then the Monarch boats are out there in the water, and they're like, okay, we're detecting another large creature. It's like, oh shit, really? And then you see the water recede more, and all the people on the beach are like, everyone run, it's a tsunami! And then they see Godzilla show up, and just his sheer size causes the water to pull up with him and crash onto the shoreline and cause a tsunami, and you don't see him, you just see a giant wave. That's terrifying. And then even when he does show up, he's just so big that he takes up the whole ass screen, and you're like, what am I looking at? And then it goes back to the airport where the Muto's just like attacking the train and everything. And then you get two more tiny hints of Godzilla showing up. You see a guy like hiding behind a plane, and it cuts to his feet, and you see the water show up at his feet, and you're like, where the hell did that water come from? Oh yeah, a tsunami. Oh shit, the tsunami's here now? And then a helicopter shooting at the Muto, and then some random thing pops up from the corner of the screen and makes them lose their balance. It's like, whoa, what the hell was that? That looked huge. And then his foot drops. It shuts everyone up. Everyone in the airport is screaming, seeing all these planes blow up. A giant foot just stomps down, and everyone shuts up. It's such a suspenseful, rising scene that was executed perfectly. The problem was that all of this suspense and buildup led to Godzilla's first appearance, and then that's it. That's it. Then it just go, okay, stuff happens, next scene. I think if they just gave us the Honolulu fight, people's views on the entire movie as a whole would have been so much better. I know there's another time they do a cutaway, like when Godzilla first shows up in San Fran and he fights the Muto and then those doors close. I think that's fine. That was still a whole battle that we missed that went until essentially nighttime. I think that could have been a fair skip. We didn't absolutely need to see that part. But the Honolulu fight, I think we needed. We needed something to sustain us until the final act of the movie. If they gave us just that fight, it didn't even need to be that long, but like just show us the stuff that happened on the news. Like, it didn't have to be a crazy fight. Like, maybe Muto charges at him, like, slashes his face a bit, and he tosses him aside, pushes him a few times, and then they fly off. And as this is happening, Godzilla's just like kind of breaking shit because he's just that massive. That would have been awesome. And it would have worked. And I don't think it would have taken away from all of his other moments of appearing in the film. Because they could have used the same elements that they did for his build-up. Where, like, maybe it's from human perspective. Where it's people looking up at Godzilla the whole fight. So it's not, like, super far away, wide shots where you just see the whole fight going on. Keep that sense of scale. Where Godzilla's just so massive you can barely even tell what's going on. As he's just fighting this giant flying creature. It's like, what the hell's going on? Something just blew up. I think he stepped on it. Everyone's panicking. It's nighttime. You can barely even see what the hell's going on, except for by his feet, because that's where all the building lights are. He's shrouded. It's like, there's some giant fucking creature here, and we can't even see it. This is wrecking stuff. Keep that suspenseful build-up, while at the same time having him there. Outside of that, I think the rest of the movie was handled great. Outside of those critiques that I said, which are the ones that most people always bring up. And it's one of the biggest offenders of a broken record. Like people bringing up the problems of 2014, like, oh, it's too dark. Oh, no. They're broken records, but it's a fair broken record. They are very fair points. It's points that we've already heard a million times. So where would I put 2014? Like I said, it's a very great movie, but with very clear issues. I definitely have passion towards this film. I wouldn't put it up here. I'd put it higher than you. Put it higher than you. Probably you. I'm gonna put it... Man, this area right here is the most divisive region of this entire tier list. The difference between here and here is nuts. Like, anything in this region, I need to think really hard about. But... You know, I think for the things it does right, I'll put it here. Because those things that it does right, those check marks are big check marks. Those are heavy check marks. Those are things I can barely even pick up. So, it gets those merits. I think that's a good spot for the 2014 film. Very high tier film. As of right now, it's in 10th place. That's pretty good, I'd say, right? Anyways, next movie, we're going to steer away from the Monsterverse for a hot minute. We don't get back until, I guess we talk about KSI, then it's right after, but that's not here. So King of the Monsters. Hopefully the anime trilogy will be able to just be one shot, 3 kills. So we can talk about all 3 of those at the same time. Anyways, Shin Godzilla, the first Toho film since Final Wars. Ooh. I don't like it more than Battle for Earth 2014. I don't like it more than this movie, but I think it's better. Like, if I was just going which ones I like the most, Battle for Earth is easily number 1. But if I'm honestly, like, critiquing these films and thinking how good they are, it's better than Battle for Earth for sure. It's like how I like the Megalon movie, but it's not a good movie, so it's down here. That's how that works. Anyways, Shin Godzilla. Holy smokes. This is a lot of people's favorite movie. Or at least, like, in their top 3. And I understand completely. It's such a off take from what we know Godzilla for. Almost like what this movie did. A very drastic take on the character of Godzilla. But done right. It's how you make a completely different character, a completely different iteration of the character, but still watch it and go, that's the character. You look at him and go, that looks nothing like any Godzilla I've ever seen, not even remotely. His personality, or lack thereof, is very drastic from what we usually know Godzilla from as well. But the mood and the tones and the way it's treated help you remember, oh shit, that's right. This isn't just a freaky ass creature. This is Godzilla. But this is such a weird Godzilla. The director of this movie being Hideaki Anno, I think made the human part of the story very interesting. There's almost no primary protagonist. If there was, it's absolutely Yaguchi. But outside of that, the human story is primarily the entirety of the Japanese government and how they're handling the situation of Godzilla. The fact it's Hideaki Anno directing also gives very, very awesome cinematography. Not just for Godzilla, but especially the human parts of the story. I love the way it's handled. It's literally live action anime, the way that it's almost handled. All the sharp cuts, someone finishes a sentence, immediately just goes to the next thing. No interesting fades or transitions. It's just snap, next scene. Someone finishes talking, next scene, like immediately. It's so like jarring that it catches you off guard. Whenever someone talks, depending on the mood that they're giving off in the scene, the camera angle will be weird, like either right up in their face or like looking up at them from below, or just like a straight up side profile. It's like, what are these camera angles? They're so artsy. They're artsy fartsy. I really liked it. The scene when Godzilla first shows up and they're reading the articles and Japanese laws, they're looking down at the book, but the camera's perspective is like the book itself is looking back up at them. So it's looking at them from below them. And there's just text on the screen, and it's like, that's the words on the page. It's crazy stuff like that that keeps me engaged with the story for Shin Godzilla. Just all these crazy artistic perspectives and shots. I will admit, though, one issue with the movie is that there's no way in hell you're going to understand the movie the first time you watch it. I had to watch it quite a few times until I actually understood what the movie was telling me. Because, good lord, there is a lot of talking. A lot of talking. And with said, like, sudden snaps that I mentioned before, like someone finishes talking, instant snap, next person talking. Like, if you didn't process what they just said, the movie's not going to slow down for you. It's just going to keep going. So, you do need to watch it a few times. That is an issue. The music is just raw beauty. I love Shirusagisu. That guy. His music is amazing in everything he puts it in. Whether it's Evangelion, or the end of Evangelion, or the rebuild of Evangelion, and the second movie, and the third movie, and the fourth movie, and Shin Godzilla, and Shin Ultraman, and Shin Kamen Rider, and Bleach. Although I haven't watched Bleach, but I've listened to Bleach's music. It's Hideaki Anno-y. It's so ethereal and religious that it makes Godzilla's appearance seem so unnatural. Like, it's not, oh, we created this being from ourselves. Oh, no, mutation. Oh, no, this is our fault. The music in this movie gives off the impression that Godzilla is just this demon from the underworld with no goal in sight aside from just, I am your punishment. I will purge this planet of humanity. And it's like, holy shit. It gives such a terrifying meaning to him. Where the first time I watched this movie, every time he's on the screen and that Shiru Sugisu music is playing, I trembled. He was so freaky. Godzilla himself is also freaky. He looks so bizarre and jarring. He evolves like a Pokemon in the movie, with so many weird takes on it. But at the same time, working. He starts out as very weird-shaped organisms based on, like, a frilled shark. But as the movie progresses, he becomes more Godzilla-looking. And you know it's finally him once it actually starts to play his theme. Like, you see the other forms, and it just plays dramatic, ethereal music. There's this giant creature from the sea that's come here for us. Once he comes in his fourth form, when he's showing up, then it just starts playing the Ikari Fukube music. It's like, oh shit, it's him, he's here now. That's cool. It's like the movie telling you, okay, you've waited long enough. Here he is. This is him now. Godzilla's here. Not freaky sea creature, it's Godzilla now. It took so many hot, weird takes. And this movie, I think, is what pioneered Toho to want to start going, every single movie we have to make him completely different. Every single movie we have to make him so unbelievably jarring and different from what we know, and he has to be just like, whoa. He has to have something that makes you go, whoa, what the hell? Because Shin is so different from everything before him. And he started that, and that movie absolutely blew up in Japan. It's one of the best movies for sure. It's going up here, but where? This is a good-ass movie. It goes there. Above GXMG, but below Mechagodzilla 2. Because the pacing has its issues. If you aren't able to go through all the human dialogue, I think the amount of human dialogue is fine. It's a primarily government-based movie, where it's the government talking about the issues at hand. The problem with said dialogue is that it's hard to follow. If you can follow it, the amount that there is, I think, is okay. But the fact that it's difficult to follow along makes the amount of time there is dialogue kind of detrimental in some ways. But once you start to follow along, you realize that almost every sentence they made had some kind of meaning. And it meant something, and it wasn't just jargon for the sake of jargon. So it's a great film for sure. It's a top movie. But it's not perfect. Okay. We're at the anime trilogy. Spoilers for where I'm going to put these. They're going in the same tier. Actually, no, they're not. That's stupid. But the anime trilogy. Let's just say there's something in this trilogy that made me think something I never thought I'd think in my life. Which is that, did I just watch something that might be worse than 98? That's a thought I've had when watching, and I still have that thought. That there is something in these three movies that made me go, did I just watch something worse than 98? So let's start with the first one. Planet of the Monsters. The beginning of this shit show. The ground foundation for this series is one of the coolest ideas I've ever heard in the entirety of the Godzilla franchise. The base setting, the foundation that this movie set for this universe is one of the most badass things I've heard in anything Godzilla related. It's so fucking awesome. Monsters start to show up around the world. They start to get handled with, they're killed, but people start to realize that they aren't just exceptions. They are very plentiful. They are everywhere. As time goes on, more and more just keep showing up. They keep getting more and more difficult to kill. Eventually Godzilla shows up, and he deems himself to be the unstoppable force. More monsters show up, people keep having to find new ways to defeat them, building super weapons, even building their own robots, mind controlling other monsters to try and use them as essentially suicide bombs to kill other monsters. Aliens show up saying, "We've lost our home planet. We'd like your planet, but we see that you guys are going through some shit too. Let's make a deal. If we help you get rid of these monsters, then you have to let us live with you. You have to let us coexist with you on your planet." And humanity's so desperate, they're like, okay, cool. We'll recruit these aliens to help us out. We gotta get rid of these fucking monsters. This happens twice. 2 alien races show up and aid humanity to try to get rid of these monsters. For the most part, everything's working. But Godzilla just can't be stopped. Godzilla, out of all the monsters, he is just impossible to kill. It gets to the point where humanity gives up. And they've befriended these aliens to the point that they go, "I think our planet is a lost cause. We need to evacuate Earth because Godzilla is just too powerful." Which is crazy. Years pass, like a long time. Not actually, but it's like they move through light speed in their spaceship, so time passes. But they've been going around in space trying to find new inhabitable planets, and they just keep failing. Like, we just can't inhabit any of these planets, and we're all dying off. They go, okay, let's try to take back Earth. They fly back to Earth, but in doing so, they had to do lightspeed travel, which made them fast forward very far into the future. So by the time they show up to Earth, it's completely different. And what they realize is that the entire ecosystem of planet Earth evolved to adapt around Godzilla. That is so fucking cool. And they go through a strategy for the entire movie to try and finally defeat Godzilla once they find his weakness. They achieve this, kill him, and then realize that wasn't even the Godzilla. That was like a smaller version of his species. As the real Godzilla is like 5, 10, 15, 20, 6 times larger. He is enormous. He kills one of the entire fleets and then the movie ends. That sounds awesome. Notice how I didn't talk about any of the main characters or the plot that they go through. I just talked about the grand scheme plot. Once we get to the actual characters, stuff stinks. Stuff is boring. Stuff is bad. Haruo, the main character, has the biggest hate boner for Godzilla because he killed his family or whatever. Okay, guess what? He killed everyone's family. You're not special. Everyone else is going through hell right now. Everyone else, I honest to God don't really remember that much. In that movie specifically. In the other movies, there's more memorable roles. But in that movie specifically, not too many significant roles or moments. It's constantly people trying to think of elaborative ways of how to defeat him. Then Haruo running into the room saying, "No! Fuck it, we gotta kill him! Ah, I hate Godzilla!" It's like, okay, we get it. What smells like melting plastic? I think someone burnt something in the other room. I swear to God, if a fire alarm goes off and I gotta leave, I'm gonna be pissed. It's been a while since we've done a fire drill. I wouldn't be surprised. I hope to God that doesn't happen. I don't want to leave. Anyways. Oh my God, that smells horrible. Anyways. Ugh. This is definitely the best of the three. Because the concepts of the movie work great. The foundation it set for this series, awesome. Godzilla's design, I love it. I love Earth's design. One thing I do hate, though, is his atomic breath. I think that was the dumbest thing they've done. So the thing I do like about it is that they established that the Godzilla in this series has sort of like an impenetrable atomic force field around him. And the only time you can... And that's why he's indestructible. The only way you can actually injure him is to wait until that force field sort of disappears for a moment, to then injure his spines, because that's what generates his force field, and now he's vulnerable to attack. The way the beam works is that said force field, the entirety of the force field comes to just the front of his face. It condenses and it fires into a beam. That part I think is pretty neat. The part I don't like is that it doesn't come out of his mouth. And that when it fires, it's not even by his mouth. Like, if it just appeared right in front of his mouth, that's one thing. But no, every time he uses it, this generated, like, force field beam is either, like, from his nose or between his eyes. And it's like, what the fuck? That looks so stupid. And he doesn't open his mouth either. He just kind of looks at you, and then a beam comes out from between his eyes. It's like, that's the dumbest shit I've ever seen. Kaiju and Rebirth had something similar. I think you're right. What was it? That sounds very familiar to something that was in Rebirth, which would make sense. It was made by the same person. Jesus Christ, that smells horrible. Like, that's like nauseous horrible. Ugh. Anyways, neat ideas. This one's actually watchable, but still not that watchable, because the ideas of the movie are great, but you're going through human story that just does not matter at all, and it's just poor character writing. And while I said all this, oh, they fight Godzilla, that's such a very small fraction of the movie. You get that cool introduction I talked about. World being attacked, people going to space, then time travel. Then they get to Earth. Boring shit. The entire movie. Then at the very end, then they finally fight Godzilla. It's like, okay, cool, stuff's happening. So... very bottom of no bad blood, but no passion. Very bottom. You are very close to having me just not like you at all. So, you go there. City on the Edge of Battle. It goes here. I, honest to God, think it's worse than 98. Like, genuinely. This movie fucking blows. Godzilla has done it. They have made history. They made something worse than 98. I can't believe it happened. How surprised are you all that this happened? They made something worse than 98. How do you do that? I'll tell you how you do that. You hype up your movie to be Mecha Godzilla's entrance into this series. The first movie, pretty lackluster, but it had some cool ideas. It had a great foundation for a sequel that could improve on it. The movie wasn't so bad at the point that it was already fucked to begin with. It had the chance for redemption. It's like, okay, Like, we look at this back in hindsight and we're like, oh, the first movie wasn't so good, but the ones that came after it were great. It was a good start that could have built off into something greater. They gave us another foundation for a great sequel. The Bila Saludo built a giant fucking robot out of their space metal. And they can use it. They can just find him again and rebuild him back to normal and use him to fight Godzilla. Because that metal had super strange capabilities that could potentially counter Godzilla's brokenness. And then they find out that the people that didn't get to leave Earth when humanity left, they adapted. They worshipped a giant moth monster. They somehow got her own genetics in them. And now they're like part moth people. They've formed this underground civilization that worships her. And they've discovered this super metal that the Mechagodzilla had, and they use it as their defense mechanism. Holy shit, that's dope. You look at the poster and you go, oh hell yeah, Mechagodzilla's back. He's gonna fight Godzilla. They're gonna use this superpower Mechagodzilla. He's not even in the movie. He's dead in the movie. That's what happens. They go back to the factory. They find him broken and destroyed. Okay, cool. Okay, he's out of commission. Are we going to rebuild him? Nah, let's just make him a big city. Or no. They go there. They see he's already a big city. It's like, oh, that's cool. We left for so long and his deceased body turned into a big city. Okay, cool. Let's make him Mechagodzilla again. Nah, let's just keep him as a city. And that's it. Mechagodzilla never directly fights Godzilla. The said city just gets a bunch of turrets and shoots him. And that's it. Mechagodzilla's just not in the movie. Well, what about Mothra? There's huge emphasis on the Mothra people and their underground civilization and worshipping her. No, she's not in the movie either. Godzilla already killed her. And there's her egg, but it never hatches. They just talk to the egg. That's it. It's just Godzilla walking through the forest in the middle of fucking nowhere. And then he shows up to the main characters and they fight him. That's kind of it. Their strategy was kind of neat, I suppose. It's like, okay, Mechagodzilla City. Let's trap him in here. And then, like, freeze him with the metal or whatever. And then kill him. And then Godzilla just goes, no, I don't feel like losing today. And then he just goes burning mode and just blows up fucking everything. So it's like, okay, so he can just do that whenever he wants, I guess. That's kind of bullshit. Human story just gets worse. Haru is still just, Godzilla. This is definitely the Bila Saludo movie. This is the Bilo Saludo movie. As in, they built Mechagodzilla. The metal is their technology. It's about their plan to take charge of everything. They suddenly go crazy and go like, we must all become part of the nano metal. The main girl or something dies or whatever because she fuses with the metal. But like, not really. I'm pretty sure she's unconscious for the rest of the series. Like, she's dead, but not really. Like, she will never wake up ever again, but she's still alive or something. I'll get to that part in the next movie. I don't think the Exif do much in this film. But, yeah, this movie fucking stinks. Mechagodzilla's not even in it. They hyped it up to be the Mechagodzilla movie, and he's not even in it. I guess I haven't talked about designs in this movie too much. I said Godzilla Earth looks sick. That's still true. Mechagodzilla's design, it's definitely not one of the best, not even close. But personally, I think it works. I think it's fine. It's super freaky and jarring, but he's alien technology that's built off the idea of making contact with other things and spreading like a virus. I think that chaotic look to his design kind of works, especially when his whole thing is that he's supposed to be able to reshape and remold himself into whatever like weapon or vehicle he needs. His head being a rail cannon is dope. The way he looks on the poster specifically is awesome. He has like super broad ass shoulders with spikes coming out. He looks pissed. He looks ready to kick ass. Yeah, I remember seeing the trailer for this one too and going, oh shit, Mecha Godzilla time. The moth people are here? Oh shit. It's like Tokyo SOS again, and I watched it. I was like, wait, did I miss something? Did I miss all the actually cool stuff? No, I didn't. I just... If for some weird hypothetical reason, the fights and shit were still just as bad as they are in the movie, but the human story was actually something worth committing knowledge to and remembering, that'd be one thing. You'd still flack the movie for being, oh, bad monster stuff for a movie about the monsters, but at least the story's alright. The story itself is also just fucking stinky. It stinks. It's like other Toho movies, other Toho Godzilla movies, where it's like, oh, the human story kind of stinks, but I'm not here for that. I'm here for the monsters. The stuff stinks, and the monster stuff stinks, because there is no monster stuff. The whole movie just stinks, and it's sad, and it's like, why did they take their time to make this film? It's a bad movie. It definitely could have been even worse than it already is, but I think the reason it's just so insulting is because they mocked us. They went, look at our poster. Mecha Godzilla is gonna be in this movie. And then he just fucking isn't. Like, what? That's bullshit. That's like if you looked at the Space Godzilla poster and went, oh shit, Godzilla versus Space Godzilla. Oh, hell yeah. And then Mogira just kills Space Godzilla in space, and the whole movie is just Godzilla versus Mogira. It's like, what the fuck? Where's Space Godzilla? Mecha Godzilla is just not in this movie. It's stupid. Oh yeah, back to designs. Godzilla Earth, I said it looks cool. I was just talking about Mecha Godzilla's design. I think it actually kind of works. We don't see Mothra's design in this movie. We get a vague idea of what it looks like in the next film. Or whatever. I don't like how these movies are 3D anime. Sometimes it works. It did not work in this movie. I can tolerate when people are 2D and the monsters are 3D, like Singular Point. I'd rather it all be 2D, but if it's 2D everything, but monsters are 3D, I can live with that. It's tolerable. But when it's all 3D, where just absolutely everything in sight is just, ooh, that does not look that good. It's just such a visually ugly movie, too. The actual designs, though, I think they're neat. The cool space costumes look alright. Human characters just look like anime characters, I suppose. The distinctions that Bilo Saludo have, like I think it's like dark bluish hair and stuff, and they're like more largely built. I think that's cool. I like how they have that distinction. The Exif are kind of like elves, I suppose. They're space elves. The Shobijin in this movie, I honest to God think are the best design the Shobijin have ever had. The ones in the original 61 Mothra movie and the 64 Mothra movie are some of my favorites too, but I think number one goes to the Shobijin in this Godzilla movie. It really plays off of their tribal priestesses. Whereas the other movies, they're like high royalty, sort of. Like, they have the fancy cloth dresses. That's why I like the 61 outfit, too, because it seems more tribal. They seem more like ancient priestesses. Which works with this one, too. But what's even crazier about these designs is that they have the tribal priestess outfits, but the way that Mothra is just incorporated into their designs is cool, too. They have the white tattoos that are very pattern-esque, similar to Mothra herself. Their hair has, like, the things on the sides of it that are in the shape of Mothra's antennae. They're sick. I think their designs are awesome. They cooked, as people say now, with those designs. I think they were sick. My favorite Shobijin design, hands down. But this is still probably the worst Godzilla film ever made to this date. It's not that far from 98, though. Like, you get to Raids again, big drop, 98. little bit, just a teensy bit below 98 this movie. Now we can finally finish off the anime trilogy. Planet Eater. This is another case, just like the other two movies. Great ideas with very obvious ways you could have handled it. And then why the hell didn't you? Why did you take a cool idea and execute it in one of the worst ways possible? So like I said, City of the Edge of Battle was the Bila Saluto movie. This was all about the Bila Saluto and their plan. But there's two alien races, the Bila Saluto and the Exif. By the end of this movie, Bila Saluto are out. It's just humanity and the Exif now. Planet Eater is the Exif movie. This is all about the Exif aliens and their plan, and about how they are going to twist and betray humanity and do their thing. The Exif worship who they just simply call God. They worship someone and they just call it God. Who is God? God is King Ghidorah. This is the sickest part of this movie. Ghidorah is an eldritch god from a different dimension that just eats worlds. That's terrifying, and he can go into your psyche and corrupt you and everything around him. His mere presence in a location bends time and space itself and reality as we know it. That's sick! You know what isn't sick? The movie he's in. Haruo hasn't changed at all. He's still hate boner Godzilla. Brrr, I've learned no lessons. The main Exif throughout these movies, Metphis, becomes a vessel for God. In the sense that Ghidorah is a hyper-dimensional being that can't enter a universe or reality without a vessel to contain them there. They can't tangibly exist in this other dimension without having some sort of portal or device to keep them intact. And that's what Metphis becomes. Metphis becomes their control panel. Their software to keep them running in our world. Where Ghidorah can defeat Godzilla and then claim the world as its own. That sounds sick. You look at the poster and go, holy shit, they're gonna fight. You know what the fight is? Ghidorah bending reality. Godzilla literally cannot touch him, even when he's right in front of him. Want to punch him? Nope. Ghidorah bites onto Godzilla on three sides. Picks him up in the air. Ow! This hurts! Ow! For the whole fight. There's no fight. It's just Godzilla strapped behind golden chains the whole movie. Well, the whole time they fight, at least. The build-up to Ghidorah, I think, was done pretty well. With Metphis telling everyone, not just the other Exif, but some of humanity, because some of them have lost faith. They go, we can't kill Godzilla, we're fucked. We can't do anything about this. And they're converting to Exif religion. They worship their god. They beg for his rescue. And they just sacrifice themselves to Ghidorah as he shows up. And it's like, holy shit. Ghidorah's a big deal. He kills people before they even realize that they're dead. And not like in a Omaiwamu way. I mean like they're literally already dead according to time. Because he just bends with the fabric of reality. It's like, wait a minute. The computer says no more life sources on this vessel. It's like, but we're right here. He already killed us, but we just don't know it yet because time's slowing or whatever. It's like, oh, well, fuck. He's so weird and bizarre. But, like, 70% of this movie is Metphis putting the main character to sleep. Like, hush, child, sleep. And then they're just falling through, like, a portal of green stuff while Metphis talks to them. For the whole movie. It's like the exact same shot, too, like, 10 times. Of just him falling through, like, green shit while people talk to him. And it's like, oh, what am I doing? Oh, it's like, what the fuck is happening? Or, like, Ghidorah's shadow is going to eat him. Like, oh, no! While they talk about useless jargon that brings nothing to the story. This is when we see Mothra, though. Because, like, 20 times in the movie, while the main character is going through these weird dreams, Ghidorah's shadow shows up and it's like, oh, I'm gonna eat you. But then one of the priestesses like goes into this weird like sleep state with him and then finds him, and it's like, oh no, Ghidorah's gonna eat you again. But then Mothra shows up and like it's her silhouette, and she looks kind of boring. It's just a normal moth design or whatever. But the symbolism is like, oh cool, she rescued him from this nightmare or whatever. Okay, cool, neat. I really don't know what else to say about these movies. They stink. This is not a good movie either. It's really bad. They killed Metfeast or whatever. They break his connection to Ghidorah. Ghidorah's suddenly a part of this reality. He's touchable now. Godzilla instantly kills him, because I guess he just sucks that much. Like, Godzilla just bops him in the head. One of his heads just disappears. The other one he rips in half. And then the other head tries to retreat and he blows it up or whatever. Ghidorah's still one entity, but Ghidorah in this movie is like 3 portals or whatever. Is it gonna play? Yeah, that's gonna play. Okay, the music stopped. He's like 3 different portals with different heads coming out, which is a pretty cool visual sight. Design-wise, these movies have had some really cool designs and then also some really dumb ones too. But like Godzilla himself, Mechagodzilla, and Ghidorah look really cool. Mothra, unfortunately, we don't ever see her colors or patterns or anything, but her silhouette looked pretty damn boring. The Shobijin looked fucking awesome. The spacesuits everyone wears look pretty cool. The Servum are just kind of whatever, I guess. I wish we could see more. That's an argument I have with these movies. I wish we saw more Godzilla fauna. Because we're like, oh, cool, the entire ecosystem evolved to Godzilla. And we see like, oh, there's these weird flying creatures that are like Godzilla-y. Okay, is there literally anything else on this planet? I guess not. Because we see Servum again in City on the Edge of Battle. And the Shobijin kill him. And then in Planet Eater, we see him for a few seconds when Ghidorah's showing up. It's like, oh my god, there's Servum panicking. Are they the only fucking animal on this planet aside from Godzilla? Like, what the hell? Make more stuff, please. Dive into the concept that the entirety of nature has become Godzilla. Not just everything is now weird bird thingies. Like, come on. Anyways, Planet Eater. Story is not really that much better either. The ending is so fucking stupid. They killed Ghidorah. Yip yip hooray. He has a baby with one of the Shobijin or whatever. People have moved on. We can't kill Godzilla. Fuck it. We'll just live with him. We can coexist, I guess. But uh-oh, Harujo has his hate boner. He doesn't know what to do. There's still one more robot left because, like, they stopped making, like, weapons and shit to try and kill him. It's like, okay, we'll stop. Godzilla already blew up everything in the second movie, but there's still, like, one more robot left. And it's like, uh-oh, what if someone finds this? And it's like, oh, what if they want to start to make more weapons again and try and kill Godzilla? Nope, let's just get rid of it all. And just leave it all behind us. I don't want any more trace of our past hatred for Godzilla. Like, okay, that's kind of a neat take, I guess. Oh, but I hate him too, so I gotta die too. It's like, oh, I mean, I guess I see where you're going, but I don't think you have to kill yourself. And I'm gonna take this innocent girl too and kill her with me. Whoa, what? You can't do that. She's unconscious. What if she doesn't want to? Yeah, but I just think she does. Because, like, she's a part of my history. She can't do anything for herself. She's unconscious. Or she's probably conscious but can't move. I'm just going to take her with me and kill her, too. Oh. Didn't you also just, like, get a wife and a kid? Don't you think they need a father? Yeah, but I really just don't like Godzilla. So I'm just going to take this other girl who really liked me, and then I'm just going to die. That's kind of fucking stupid, but okay. He finds Godzilla, just beelines right towards him. Godzilla kills him and her and the robot, and then movie over. And it's like, ooh. What the fuck did I just watch? This is not a good movie. But how bad of a movie is it? I'm gonna have to say it's really fucking bad. Where should I put it? Where should I put it? Below raids again or above raids again? It's somewhere here, for sure. It had some ideas. But so did this movie too, I guess. Below. Okay, we'll leave it there for now, I guess. I think... Should we talk about Kong Skull Island? I'll go over it very briefly. Kong Skull Island. The introduction of Kong to the Monsterverse, which so far we've only gotten one movie of. Which came out before these anime movies, but still. Anyways. Isn't that cool? They're at the bottom of each of these tiers. They cap them all off. But anyways. Kong Skull Island, it's Kong's introduction. Probably the best Monsterverse movie for just being a movie. Vietnam movie, pretty much what it is. Except Skull Island. It's very Vietnam War themed. It's around that era of time. The first unique take on Kong literally ever. Because every single Kong movie prior to this one has just been the exact same retelling of the same story. But now this is cinematic universe King Kong, so they gotta make it different. And I think they did it well. Acting was great, pacing was great. The characters themselves were interesting. No super deep, dark, super... I'm gonna think about this forever story plot. But it was a smart plot that worked. They go to Skull Island because Monarch needs to prove that these creatures exist and that they predict that the Hollow Earth is a thing. They find out it's all true. Kong shows up, kills all the soldiers. What was he? He was a general. General Packard. Yeah. He gets pissed that all of his soldiers just got killed. Especially when they were 2 weeks from being discharged or whatever. Like, I was just about to be dead. It's that trope where it's like, oh, they were just about to go home to see their families. Oh, no, they're all dead. Anyways. He gets pissed that this animal killed all the soldiers. He's so devoted to just killing this creature. That's cool. The Monarch people want to study the island more. They find out that someone from World War II has been there this entire time. And he knows the island more than all of them. And they never heed his warnings. And then they meet all these freaky-ass creatures that start killing them all. And then they find the skull crawlers, which are like the top predator on the island. And they just eat everything in sight. And Kong is the only thing that keeps them in order. And General Packard wants to kill Kong, though. So it's like, uh-oh, if you kill Kong, then these things take over everything. It's like, well, I don't fucking care. I don't give a motherfucking damn. These are my soldiers. And that Kong killed my soldiers. So, that was a cool dynamic. He tries to kill Kong. He fails. Ramarak shows up. I'm never calling that thing Skull Devil, by the way. That's a stupid name. That's like the filmmakers couldn't think of a name for the large skull crawl. It's like, okay, I brought my son today because I felt like it. Okay, Timmy, what do you think we should call this really big one? These monsters are called skull crawlers. What should the big one be called? Well, it should be like really cool and mean and scary. So let's call it the Skull Devil because devils are big and mean and scary. And he looks like he has a skull head. Oh, yeah, he's got it. Skull Devil. Great. How long did it take for you to think of that, Jimmy or Timmy? I thought of it in 4 seconds. And he holds up like 3 with his fingers. Awesome, Timmy. We're going to use that name. Yay! Oh, my lord. I think I know why I'm tired most streams. And I think because I'm not tired this stream. I think the problem is that I usually eat right before / during I'm streaming. So I get like a food coma when I start to stream. So I'm very tired. It's like, oh, guys, I'm full. I need to sleep. So I didn't get anything to eat prior to stream. I'm going to eat after stream and see how that goes. And probably just pass out after I eat. which is good. Because right now I'm pretty awake with my monster and whatever. Like, I'm doing good. But Kong Skull Island was a good movie. Set the foundation for Kong's introduction to the Monsterverse. It was a great movie. It's also the one that every place ever kept advertising. And it's like, okay, cool. 4K discs are a thing now. You need to get 4K TVs and 4K DVD player. All your new 4K. And it's always like Hacksaw Ridge, Amazing Spider-Man 2, and like Kong Skull Island. Like, these are all the movies that would be advertised whenever TV companies or movie companies would be advertising like, hey, 4K movies are the new thing, and Kong Skull Island's always one of them. So it's like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like, I'd go through the mall, go to the Apple store, and see them advertising like, oh, or like the AT&T store and stuff like that, and it's like, ooh, Kong Skull Island, oh shit, that's cool. But anyways, where would I put Kong Skull Island if it was on this list? It's really fucking good. It's better than this movie. I think I'd put it above Son of Godzilla, but below Hedorah. Yeah, I'd put it here, between these two movies. Or would I put it above No, I'm putting it right there. Between Son of Godzilla and Hedorah. Okay, that's not something, but someone's definitely cooking something in the kitchen, and it just smells disgusting. That's not... I hope that... Ugh. Anyways. So Kong Skull Island, go right here. We can get to King of the Monsters now. So, like with this one, controversial movie, this is another very controversial movie. I see some people who would put it all the way down here. I see people that would put it all the way up here. Where would I put it? We'll get to that in a bit. I need to say this, though. It's not going to be that high. I'm not going to be putting it that high. It's a rather not the biggest fan of it movie. But there is one thing this movie gave me that you can never take away. Doesn't matter how much I hate this movie in the future, or how much I start to realize, like, God, this movie sucks, or it doesn't matter what I think later on, you can't take away the fact that this was one of the greatest moments I've had as a Godzilla fan. I didn't get to watch 2014 in theaters. I didn't get to be a part of that whole thing. I watched this movie on one of my birthdays. I can't remember which birthday it was, but my parents got me this movie for my birthday. And after dinner, we all ate dinner, we ate cake, sang happy birthday and all that, opened presents. After all that, we all sat down in the living room and watched 2014 because we just got it on DVD, and that was fun as shit. That was my experience with this movie. We all got to watch it together on my birthday. 2019, however, King of the Monsters, this was my first time going to a movie theater and watching a Godzilla film. Going into an actual movie theater and seeing Godzilla. And not just that, I saw King Ghidorah. I saw Rodan. I saw Mothra. I saw all these characters that I was the only person in the world that I knew that knew who these people were. That knew who these characters were. There's nobody else I knew in my life. No one in school, no one in my family, none of my neighbors, nobody. Nobody I knew had any knowledge. They might have known who Godzilla is, because like everyone knows who Godzilla is. Big giant monster that destroys cities. He's much more popular and people know who he is more now. But at this point it was just like, isn't he just a big dinosaur that just like breaks shit? Like, that's kind of all the world knew for Godzilla. But everyone knew Godzilla. Everyone is seeing King Ghidorah now. Everyone got to see Rodan now. Everyone got to see Mothra now. People got to see what Godzilla's really like. I got to see that in theaters. And I was like, no fucking way. These characters that I love so much that nobody else knew. Characters that I thought that I was the only person in the world that knew they existed. Is now sitting down in a theater, watching these characters be introduced to everyone else, and people talking about them. That was so cool. That was crazy. I watched Godzilla movies on like DVDs, like online or whatever. It's like, oh, cool. These movies that came out before my time and these cool, interesting aged suits. I was not there to experience any of that because I wasn't alive at that time. I was alive for Kiryu Again, and then Final Wars. But those were Japanese movies, and I was an infant, so I didn't get to experience any of that. Then I got to watch some of the movies, and I was like 7 and up, through like streaming and online shit or whatever. This is all stuff that I missed. I was late to. I'm watching prior to it happening, or I'm watching when it already happened. This is stuff I missed. This is me caught up with the franchise, and I'm seeing something brand new for the first time of these characters that I found out and loved. That was awesome. I will never forget watching this movie with my mom in theaters. I was losing my mind. Go a bit later, once the hype train for this movie's died off, and I'm no longer foaming at the mouth from how amazing this movie is from the face value point of, holy shit, these monsters are back in an American theater for everyone to watch. Get that out of the way, and just look at the movie for what it is. This movie's bad. It's not a good movie. It is not handled well. It is very bland. There are a lot of references to original Toho stuff. But outside of face value, there's really no sustenance to the references. One great example is the Oxygen Destroyer. It is not the Oxygen Destroyer. It's just generic nuclear missile in the movie script, and then you just erase nuclear missile and replace it with the word Oxygen Destroyer. It functioned nothing like the Oxygen Destroyer that we knew before. It had little to no impact at all, especially compared to the Oxygen Destroyer that we all know before. It behaves completely differently. Its meaning was so much more minor. People say Destroyer might be added to the Monsterverse. At this point, he might be. I don't know. But if he is, I see people saying, Destroyer could happen because we had the Oxygen Destroyer. I hope to God that is not how they bring Destroyer into the Monsterverse, because that was not the Oxygen Destroyer. That was just a missile that they called the Oxygen Destroyer that just behaved like a missile. Shot down, big explosion, boom, Godzilla went, ow. That's what it is. That's what it did. It wasn't a super weapon that went underwater and dissolved everything. It was just big bomb. If that's how Destroyer gets added to these series of movies, that's going to be stupid. Oh, but it's the Oxygen Destroyer. You can write Destroyer to be made a different way. Please don't make him specifically because of that very minor moment. That had no build-up either. There was no hinting towards the Oxygen Destroyer. There was no talking about it afterwards. It just happened, and then that was it. And it left no further impact on the series. That was dumb. Burning Godzilla was another face value reference. Like, oh, look, he's orange and he's hot. It's like when he did the thing in the Destroyer movie. It's the thing. It's like, oh, man, that's such a cool reference. Like, it was such a bland face value reference. It was just like Mario eating a mushroom. Burning Godzilla isn't cool just because he's red and hot. It's like, oh, I'm fucking strong. That's cool. But it had a lot more meaning to it. It was the end of his life cycle. It was a punishment for something that he endured. His life was ticking. Things were drastic. He dies because of it. The design actually tried. They didn't just go Godzilla but orange. They made his eyes red. They gave him a glowing core and waist. The spikes were red. But that was about it. The rest of the stuff is pretty normal. There's steam coming off of him. For Burning Godzilla in this movie, they just went, okay, take Godzilla. Yeah, okay. Now get this orange crayon. Now fill him with orange. Okay, now what? And nothing. Now you're done. What? Yeah, he's just orange Godzilla. Just completely orange. And the screen will just be completely orange too. They just painted him orange. No creativity. He's just orange. It's like, why? That's so lazy and stupid. I don't know. Mothra does jack shit in the movie. She, like... Oh, but she made Birdie... They made, like, 10 different reasons for why Godzilla could have gone burning in that movie. Mothra really did not contribute to the film that much. She does nothing in the movie, like, the whole time. Ironically, the best part of the movie is Rodan. Out of all the 4 monsters in the movie, Rodan gets the best moment, and it's his attack scene in Mexico. That scene was sick. That was actually awesome action choreography and pacing. That was sweet. I'll give the movie this. The shots in the movie are amazing. Almost every single shot with a kaiju in the movie can be screenshotted as a wallpaper. But just because it looks cool, that doesn't mean it is. The context behind it, the reason why it's happening, what it's gonna do, it's usually really dumb. They introduce like 20 more monsters, and by introduce I mean just give names, and then you only see like 2 of them, and then they do nothing. And now everyone wants to see them, which I just don't understand, because most of their designs are just very bland. Very, I thought of this in 8 seconds. They just don't seem impressive at all. Behemoth is just whatever. The ones in the comics are ridiculous too, like those 2. I don't want to see those guys. Everyone goes, oh, bring this one into the movies. Oh, I want to see. I don't want to see that. They're all ridiculous. Oh, I want to see Amulek in a movie. Oh, I want to see Abaddon and fucking Sekhmet. No, that's fucking stupid. Why do we want them in the movie? What have they done? What have they done to be interesting in any way, shape, or form other than just be an animal that has a name and is confirmed to exist? What have they done that's cool? Or, oh, he could beat Godzilla. How do you know he can beat Godzilla? How do you know he's that strong? No. No. I don't like a single one of the King of the Monster OCs. Any of them. I'll save some of that for GXK. But I'll have a spoiler warning when we get to GXK. But just know, I don't like the King of the Monster OCs. They could have been handled well, and I would have liked them and wanted to see more. But they weren't, and I don't want to see them anymore. I don't want to have them be introduced to the series, be the dumbest thing ever, and then all of a sudden come back and be, oh, now they're cool. But I don't care anymore. You showed me them. They were dumb as shit, and I didn't want to see them anymore. If you wanted me to be invested into them, make them cool from the beginning. First impression is everything. If they suck at the beginning, then I don't want to see them anymore. Go away. The human story was also bad. The mom and like the eco... Like, what the fuck? Oh, pollution. No! Come on! That's the plot of the movie. Humans are destroying the world, and they are here to fix it. Really? Man. Rodan does get sidelined. That's what I'm saying! Mothra gets sidelined too! And she didn't even get a moment to begin with where it's like, oh, I'm not sidelined. She's just is sidelined. And then Rodan gets sidelined. And it's just Godzilla and Ghidorah, and then Rodan and Mothra are kind of there, I guess. The main character, Mark Russell, he's an animal biologist or whatever, but they handle it so poorly where he just... They keep going, what could Godzilla be doing? And he's just, oh, I'm just going to say something because I'm an animal biologist. I think he's doing this. And he's 100% spot on, perfectly correct with every single thing he says. And it's like, how the fuck does he know all this? It's like, oh yeah, Godzilla's back's glowing because it's an intimidation display. He's trying to ward off someone that's on the other side of the planet. He's going to Antarctica right now to go fight that. It's like, how the fuck do you know that? How? That's stupid. God, this movie. It is really bad. People had complaints for Godzilla 2014 where it's like, oh, he's always shrouded and stuff. Why can't we just straight up see him for how he is? It's always like nighttime or dark. Same thing for this movie. There's never just clear shots of the kaiju. It's always, it's nighttime, or there's a giant blizzard, or it's raining, or they're underwater. Or fucking... There's never clear shit. The closest thing we get is Rodan. Rodan fighting in the sky. Or like chasing all the jets. But even then, it's Hollywood's weird trope of making Mexico and that just region of the planet really, really orange for some reason. Like if you watch Breaking Bad, they go to Mexico. Suddenly everything is just super orange tinted. They do that in King of the Monsters. Everything is just super orange tinted and blurry and like 900 orange filters. So when Rodan's there, it's like, okay, what the fuck? Why is everything so orange? Like, him being orange is whatever. He's a lava bird. But like, everything around him is orange. Even before the volcano erupts. Why is everything so orange? Whenever Mothra's on screen, why is everything so green? Whenever Godzilla's on screen, why is everything so blue? And Ghidorah's, why is everything so yellow? The whole movie is just giant, heavy color filters that just erase all of the detail. Because if you watch the behind the scenes, the models and the detail look great, but then it just gets obscured by like 900 filters. It's like, what the fuck? Why did you do that? Anyways, I gotta move on. I brought my points for this movie. Again, it's one of the greatest experiences I've had, but it's also really not a good movie. It's better than Monster Planet, for sure. The things it wanted to do right, I mean, it didn't, not even some of those it didn't do right. Like references, those were just poorly handled, very face value references. That if you don't think about it, you just go, oh shit, Oxygen Destroyer, oh my god, Burning Godzilla, oh my god, all these references. And it's like, they weren't cool references though. They weren't handled like cool references. It was just the director going, hey, look guys, people watching the movie. I've watched Godzilla movies. I know what the Oxygen Destroyer is. See, I'm going to prove it to you right now. I'm a fan. Like, okay, is it going to mean anything, though? No, not really. I'm just going to name this thing the Oxygen Destroyer, and then that's it. I'm just going to make him burning, and then it goes away, I guess. It's like, why? Why did you do that? Why? Music's awesome, kind of. It's ironic. I love the soundtrack for this movie. I don't think it's like the greatest ultimate soundtrack of all time that makes me scream and shout and go, oh my god, this soundtrack is amazing. I can't believe they cooked so. Like, it's really good. It's faithful. It's not, I'm going to scream at how hype this is. Like, it's good. It's really good. But it's not like, it's not legendary. But it's really good. I liked it. It's a pro about the film. The soundtrack is a pro about the movie. However, ironically, there's one soundtrack I don't like in that movie. And it's specific. I don't even know if it's in the movie itself. It's not Godzilla's theme that I don't like in this movie. I like when it's played. Like, I like when it's played in this movie. But it's played different. It's in different tracks. It plays in Rebirth when he gets revived from the nuke. It plays when he shows up in Boston. It plays in Old Rivals when he arrives in Antarctica to fight Ghidorah. I like when it plays in those. The one specific instance where I really, really, really don't like it is the track just called Main Title. Just the main King of the Monsters theme, where it just starts with 9,000 horns all playing out of sync with like bass boosted, just right in your ear. Wah, 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 wah. It's like, look guys, I know what this song goes like. It's like, oh my god, fucking chill. I just really don't like that one. It's like it's screaming at you. I understand references. I'm gonna show you all of them. It doesn't sound like they're using the theme because like, oh, this is Godzilla's theme, we should use it. It's playing the theme to go, look, I told you I know what this song is. I just don't like that specific version of it. Every other time that theme plays in this soundtrack, I think it's great. Because it's not trying to just rub it in your face. It's just going, okay, Godzilla's on screen because he's doing Godzilla stuff. Time to play the theme. So I like those. Anyways, ranking the movie. I think it goes here. Yeah, okay. Godzilla vs. Kong. I remember seeing this one for the first time. It was a pretty hype moment too. It's a very similar situation to King of the Monsters, where experiencing it for the first time was really hype, just for what it is at face value. Then give it a bit, let me actually evaluate it for the movie it is, and for the franchise it's a part of, and just the series it's in. And boy, it drops hard. We need a lot of energy for this one. Godzilla vs. Kong. This is the movie that the entire Monsterverse has been built around. The whole point was for it to come to this moment. Was it worth it? After the movies we got, 2014 Kong Skull Island and King of the Monsters, is this what we wanted? The movie came out. We didn't watch it in theaters because it was COVID. We got it on HBO Max. We just watched it on HBO Max. We ordered pizza with a bunch of other stuff like garlic knots and stuff like that. We got a speaker and everything. We set up the basement. My dad knows how much I love Godzilla. He made sure to make this as hype as possible. It's like, yeah, we can't watch it in theaters. Let's make up for it and have this home viewing be sick as hell. We pimped the house for this movie. We ordered food. We got a full ass speaker for the big speaker for the movie. We watched it. We all sat down on different couches and stuff. Lights off. That was fun as shit. Watching it for the first time, I wasn't watching it critically as a movie. I was just watching it as, okay, I bought my movie ticket, or I bought my ticket to go watch this wrestling match between Godzilla and Kong. Fights would happen. Oh, fuck yeah. That's something that this movie does right. The choreography of the fighting is done amazingly. And when your movie is called Godzilla vs. Kong, I'd fucking hope that the fights are good. Unfortunately, I only think 2 of the 3 fights are good. I'm not a big fan of the Mechagodzilla fight. And on top of that, I just don't think I like Mechagodzilla's addition, period. His addition in the Monsterverse should be a thing. He's Mechagodzilla. He's got to fucking be in these movies. But him showing up specifically in this movie and then also ending in this movie, I think was a dumb idea. I think Mechagodzilla is a character that needed to be more important. He needed his own movie. He needed a Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla movie. Like, imagine if they made another Godzilla... If Ghidorah was never in King of the Monsters, and they just made, like, Godzilla X Kong, like, the 5th movie, and Ghidorah's just, like, kinda in the movie later on, Like, it's a mainly Godzilla Kong movie, and then Ghidorah just, like, kind of shows up in the corner. It's like, come on, you just fucking wasted Ghidorah? Like, that's what they did with Mechagodzilla. It's the Godzilla versus Kong movie, and then Mechagodzilla just kind of shows up, and it's like, okay, you wasted him, because he's gone now. Yeah, I don't think it needed to be a team-up movie either. Especially if they're still gonna hate each other in this movie. But they could have just fought, had one of them win, one of them lose, end of story. Sure, they don't have to die, but they can still lose. Civil War did that. That would have been cool. But no, we had to go Batman vs. Superman mode, which is a movie people did not like that for. They're like, why did they team up at the end or whatever? That's stupid. We don't want that in our versus movies. And then that's exactly what they did here. The story, I really did not like. It's something that GXK did right. I think he learned from GVK. The problem is, it's Godzilla vs. Kong. You give us that title, you build up to it with the other movies, you want to see Godzilla and Kong fight. It's a movie about them fighting. You want it to be primarily about them fighting. You don't want the human story to take control of the movie, because that's not what you're here for. People went, Adam Wingard made this movie all about fighting, which is awesome, because that's what we want to see. We want to see more monster fighting in action. Awesome. That's fine. The problem is, the story you built for the movie required a lot of human story. But if you guys didn't know, there was way more human story that was going to be in this movie that they cut out because they didn't want the pacing to be ruined. They wanted people to see the monster fights. They didn't want people to have to wait an eternity between fights. Like, monster fight happens, human story, human story, human story, human story, monster fight. And it's like, okay, we just want to see the fights. Why are we watching all this story? So he cut most of it out, so we could just quickly get to the fighting. Which is like, yeah, it's a fighting movie. You should get primarily fights and just monster stuff going on. The problem is, you just cut out like 80% of the human story you had for the movie. So that rest that you have now is just garbage, because you took out so much of the stuff that mattered. You built a long story for the movie that needed a short story. So then you cut it down into a short one, but now it's horrible. It's just bad. Anytime the monsters aren't on screen, it's so stupid. It's probably the worst Monsterverse story. It's that bad. Thankfully, it's a versus movie, and there's a lot of fighting stuff, so you don't have to deal with it for that long. But, like, the entire Mechagodzilla subplot is handled horribly. Millie Bobby Brown, Deadpool Kid, and Bernie do nothing. They do nothing other than just see stuff. They don't actually do anything. They're just walking cameras for the audience to see what Apex is doing. They don't actually do anything. They don't do a single thing. Monarch does like nothing in the movie. Mark Russell does nothing. The whole movie. That one actor who was supposed to be a huge role in the film gets 2 seconds. He was supposed to have a whole thing going on in that movie, but they cut everything out. He does nothing. All they do is go, man, Godzilla's so angry. Man, I wish I knew where my daughter was. And then we never see him again till like the end of the movie. Where he just hugs her. He does nothing. This movie's... Apex. Who the fuck are they? We've had no build up to them from the prior 3 movies. You'd think for the ultimate culmination movie that this series has been setting up for, you'd think an entire organization like this wouldn't just be so sudden. We'd know about them prior. We'd know something. Mechagodzilla's everything addition to this movie was just ridiculous. Whole new organization just out of nowhere, I guess. Mechagodzilla just out of nowhere. Like, what happened? Thankfully, this is gonna fix it a little bit, but still not that by that much. How? But so that's the worst side of the story. The better side of the human story is the Kong story with the people. But even then, it's really not that good. Nathan Lind is alright. Eileen Andrews, I like her more in GXK, but in GVK, I did not like her. There's so much catastrophic shit going on in this movie that she should care about. And like every single line delivery, it's almost like Ford Brody. Eileen Andrews in GVK is like Ford Brody in 2014. She just doesn't care. When Kong's dying in Hong Kong and Gia's like sensing his heartbeat slowing, Nathan Lind rose up. He's like, oh, what's going on? What's going on? Eileen Andrews just stands up, kind of like sighs with an annoyed look on her face for some reason. She just goes, she can feel his heartbeat. He's not going to last for very long. It's like, do you not fucking care? Like, what the hell? Or like Nathan Lind shows up to Kong to Zib. It's like, look, we can get Kong to the hollow. We got to get to... And she's just looking at him like, yeah, I care. Wow. Awesome. Yeah, I'm listening. It's like, they just don't care. Yeah, Kong, I guess. You know, I mean, I don't think Kong would lose to Godzilla, because, like, Kong vows to no one. Oh my god, Gia! We're drowning? Oh no! I don't want that to happen, I guess. What do we do? Did you just make fun of Kong? Why don't I throw you off the boat? I really did not like her in GBK. She's better in GXK. She's better. She seems like she cares more about what's going around her more in that movie. Gia's fucking Gia, like whatever. I liked her more in... Which movie did I... I'm not gonna go into that. Whatever. The Apex girl was dumb as shit. I'm the very pretty one, but I'm also the asshole. For no reason. Dump the monkey. Meh, I'm rich. I'm gonna do what I want. And then she dies. It's like, okay. What did she contribute? What did she do that was important? Nothing. Kong is bullied the entire movie. Like, yeah, he's the main character compared to Godzilla, but look at it from this way. Kong is captured and put in a containment on Skull Island. All he wants is a real home now. They tranquilize him, force him onto a boat to go across the ocean against his will. He's clearly not liking it because he's tossing around in the boat at night, wanting to get out. He's sad. He wants a home. Then Godzilla shows up, and they force him to fight in a very unfair match. He's drowned, almost killed from drowning. Then they shoot him with a bomb to make Godzilla let go. He's just laying there almost dead on the ship. Then they airlift him all the way to the Arctic, drop him in the snow. He's freezing, sad, doesn't know what to do. Then they manipulate him, go, hey, if you go into that scary hole, you might find some family. Oh, really? They lied. They don't think anyone's in there. They force him to go into the Hollow Earth where he plummets. He plummets. Then is immediately greeted by flying snakes, where one of them almost kills him. Then he goes to this temple where he finds where his relatives used to be, sees no one's there, assumes they're all dead, thinks he's the last one left. Then that home that he just found is destroyed by Godzilla. Then he goes to Hong Kong to fight Godzilla, gets his ass kicked so hard he dies, essentially. Like, Godzilla steps on his sternum so hard that he gets like a heart attack and dies. Then he's revived back to life just so he can be ordered to team up with the guy who just killed him. And then the movie ends, and then Kong has to just let him go. Kong gets bullied the whole movie. He gets no justice. And Godzilla's barely even in the fucking movie. So, yeah, this was a bad Monsterverse movie. I'm putting this... But at least the fights were really good. I'm putting it at the top of I don't like this. Because at least it had the choreography going. You can at least not watch the movie, which I feel like most people in this community do at this point, at least the newer people in this community. They just don't even watch the movies. They just look up the fights on YouTube, watch that, and go, okay, I've seen the whole movie. I'm going to I'm going to base it exclusively just on this clip I saw. So I think GXK is the best movie in the franchise. Because you only watched the fight and ignored the rest of the entire movie. It's a YouTube fight to you. But watch the actual movie from start to finish. It fucking blows. That's why that's going there. Holy shit, it's... How long did I talk about GVK? Good lord. Well, we're gonna finish these. Huh. Okay. Singular Point, the second anime, the better anime. Not the greatest thing they could have done, but I liked Singular Point. I liked it. I didn't love it, but I liked it. It was definitely a major improvement from the trilogy movies. But it's still not perfect. It's kind of got a thing with Shin Godzilla, where there's a lot of talk. I'm going to just get to the problem with Singular Point first. And this isn't a movie. This is a show. These are episodes. There's a... What did I just do? Uh-oh. I moved Ebera. Oopsies. Oops. No, what the... Stop it. I gotta... Stop! Phone? Sorry, I'm using my phone for... I gotta make sure I put it back in the exact same spot I was. If you can't remember where it went, then how do you know that it really does go there? Anyways, there's a lot of speaking jargon in this movie too, where high chances you are not going to understand it the first time you watch through it, or maybe even the second time. You need to see it quite a few times to understand what they're saying, sort of like with Shin Godzilla. It's very pseudoscience with the stuff it talks about. Long story short, or long story long, I don't know, it depends on how this goes. I need to remember. A scientist discovers this creature called Godzilla, which is from a different world, essentially. And he secretes this red stuff called archetype, which not only is like a portal for creatures from another dimension to come to our world, but it's also what sustains them. He creates the oxygen or the orthogonal diagonalizer, I'm sorry. A MacGuffin weapon to kill Godzilla. Later, it seems like another Godzilla showed up or something, I can't remember. And it's creating more archetype, and now more creatures are showing up. Some being brought through these dimensional portals, and some just being normal wildlife from our world, being mutated by this red stuff, the archetype. Like, I'm pretty sure all the Rodan in this show are, since Godzilla's in the ocean, all the archetype is infesting schools of fish and turning them into Rodan. Which is why those first form Rodans have, like, weird fins and flippers, and they're hyper-colored, like, pretty coral fish. Because they're mutated fish that are being, like, kaiju-fied, and they're flying out of the water. That's why they come out of the ocean. And weird stuff like that. Then there's portal ones like Salunga and Anguirus. But then there's more ones that are mutated, like the Megalon crabs. They're Megalons. I know they're called Kumanga or whatever, but if you look at them, they very clearly aren't spiders, and they don't look anything like Kumanga. It's Megalon in crab form. But Those seem to be like crustaceans near the harbor that were mutated by archetype. And the main characters are building a robot to like fend all this stuff off, and then AI, and I don't even remember most of it. It's really complicated. Not even I understand it fully. And I think that's the biggest issue with this series. You need to be like a super mega genius to kind of understand what this show is trying to tell you. And it's like, why? I don't want it to be super dumb and unintelligent, because that's what like we get with this. But you don't have to make it to the point that most normal people wouldn't understand. Like, make it easy to follow along. But aside from that, I really like it. I love the designs of the monsters. Some of them. Most of them, I like. The character designs are amazing. A lot of the characters are handled pretty poorly, though. But their designs are great. Their personalities I absolutely love. It's a fun watch. But at the same time, I turn off my brain to watch it, which I don't want to do. I always say that I don't like when you have to turn your brain off to watch a series or a movie or a show, especially for Godzilla. And that goes here. I do it, and I enjoy the show, but I want to watch it without turning my brain off, because there is stuff there to learn and experience, and that's what I want to do. I don't want to have to turn my brain off. I want to actually look at it for what it's trying to be, because I like what I've seen, and I want to understand it better. And Season 2 is potentially being worked on as we speak, or being confirmed or something. There's been some talk about it. I think it's happening, but I don't know if it's anytime soon. It's going in here somewhere. Where would I put it? I would put it here. No, here. Yeah, that's a good spot. Above Ebra, below Ghidorah. I really like it, but I just don't get it. But there are times where I get it. There's been times where I did my research and I looked it up like crazy and I went, okay, I finally get it. But I didn't retain any of that knowledge. I had to like think about it really hard when I learned it. And then as soon as I stopped thinking about it, I lost all of it immediately, because it is very hard to retain for me. But I like the designs, and I don't want to rate this based on just the monster stuff, because that's not fair and critical of everything else that it has to offer. But for the monsters, yes, they look really good. They're handled pretty cool. But it's like, whoa, then it should be up here. It's not just the monsters. That's not the only thing I care about. I don't just watch this franchise via YouTube videos of just the monster scenes. I take it for what the whole thing is. And for this thing, it seems like a pretty interesting story. But unfortunately, I don't understand it fully. And I'd like it if I could understand it better. Anyways, back to another show. Monarch, Legacy of Monsters. One of the best things to come out of the Monsterverse since the 2014 movie and Kong Skull Island. It's essentially two shows in one. A show taking place during the 40s and 50s, and then a show taking place in 2015. The show during the 40s and 50s is really good. It gives some intel into how we got to the 2014 film, and how humanity discovered them, and how Monarch was founded. We see the guy from Kong Skull Island, James Goodman, but younger, doing his research and all that. We see like how he founded Monarch. We see how everyone else who was there to help him with it did what they did, and how Monarch got in touch with the military, and how Godzilla was discovered, and how they started to track him and research him and realize that, like, oh, this isn't just a big animal. He can survive nukes and shit. Is there a party? I don't know, there probably is. That happens all the time, where I'm just, like, hanging out and I hear, like, chatting and shouting, and I'm like, okay, people are probably just doing a thing. I can usually hear it, but I haven't been able to hear it recently. But that could just be because I'm talking. I heard that door. Anyways, yeah, there might be something going on. Anyways, we're almost done. We've only got 3 left. Legacy of the Monsters, yeah. So the first half, or the first show, I really like. I like how it brings that build up, and the characters' dynamics are handled really well. And it's not anything crazy. A lot of it is fair assumption. It's handled well. Pacing's good. Acting is great. Nothing too wacky. It's like, why the hell did they do this? There's not much of that in it. It works. Come to 2015. It's not horrible. It's not horrible. But it has a lot of that thing I just mentioned earlier, where it's like, why did they do that? The main girl, I don't know how I feel about her. She's... I like her idea of she was someone who survived the San Francisco attack. Her dad worked for Monarch. He went missing. She has to find him. That seems pretty cool. She has a secret brother from another family that her dad, like, he was handled pretty blandly. Like, what the hell did he do? She has a friend that banged her brother, but now, like, they hate each other or whatever. And now there's this weird, like, love triangle, because I think the 2 girls like each other now or something. It's like, what the... She at least does stuff, though. The other girl, she's a pretty integral part of the 2015 story, so I like her addition. We can get back to what I said about GVK, about how Apex just kind of came out of nowhere. Monarch kind of gives us some intel into how Apex started through that girl, and I think that was pretty cool. I still don't know if their addition to the franchise was necessary or important or cool, but talking about their uprising in this show at least helps it a little bit more. It makes it a little bit less jarring for this movie, because you get to see it come to fruition. But if you still watch these movies in release order, Apex shows up in GVK and you're like, what the fuck? But it's nice to see them go back and try and fix some things. I'm so happy that this decanonized Awakening. I hate the idea that Godzilla was like fighting some weird blue mutant thingy when the army nuked him in Castle Bravo. That just takes away all of the significance of the moment. It's humanity being in contact with Godzilla for the first time, trying to kill him. This is a humanity and Godzilla moment, not, oh, Godzilla's existed at this moment in time, so we gotta have a weird monster there, and then they're fighting and they're brawling because Godzilla fights and blah, blah, blah. No, this is not a moment for fighting. This is just taking the moment for what it is. Godzilla showing up. They set off a bomb. They try to kill him. That's it. Shinomura was dumb, and I'm happy they don't exist anymore. Please, please, please do the same for Muto Prime. Get that thing out of canon. I do not like their addition either. I just don't like any of the comic or OC monsters that much. Like, we'll get to another one when we get here. But the way Godzilla is handled in the present, I think is cool. I'm glad he isn't just fighting shit and doing everything like, he's doing literally nothing this show. He's sleeping or walking, and that's it. And I think that's great, because he isn't supposed to be doing anything crazy or out of nowhere, which is why I hate the Muto Prime fight in the comics. Godzilla fights in 2014. Then he goes in hiding. He doesn't do a single fucking thing until King of the Monsters. He shouldn't have this giant epic brawl with Super Mega Muto, the sequel. That's dumb. He fights the thing in the Hollow Earth or in Axis Mundi for like 10 seconds. That's fine, because it's... Yeah, there's definitely a party going on. I just heard music. Anyways, that Axis Mundi fight, I think that's a perfect way to give him a fight in the show. It happens. It's very short and brief. It's not a significant, like, lore-changing fight against some ultimate monster. It's just some random fucking creature, the Ion Dragon. It's just a goofy dude that exists who Godzilla creams instantly because it's just a random-ass animal compared to him, who's, like, the Titan. It was a quick death, and it should have been. It was brief. It wasn't significant. I heard that scream. And it was in the Hollow Earth. It wasn't on the surface where anyone could see it happen. It was in hiding. So, like, that works, too. I think that was a great way to do that. But, like, the other stuff he does in the show in present time, where he's just fucking chilling in the desert, and then they wake him up and he walks away, like, that was great. And they made it sick. He didn't need to do 1,000 backflips and, like, karate chops to go, oh my god, yeah, Godzilla's in the show. He just fucking wakes up, stands up, and walks away. And they made it seem so fucking cool. I liked that. Uh-oh. I don't remember his name. I'm gonna figure this out. I'm so mad at myself for not remembering his name. No. Come on. Kurt Russell. I'm so pissed at myself for forgetting that. Kurt Russell's character was great in both the flashback and present day. I thought it was cool. He's definitely the face of the show. I know he's not the main character, whatever, but she's not the best. He is the main character. That Monarch guy in the show, he's really cool too. I like how he's just working with Monarch, but then he starts to realize, like, hey, I think these people are onto something. I think they're focusing on the grand scheme of stuff that's going on instead of just present-day Monarch, which just isn't doing shit. And he's like, you know what? Fuck you guys. I'm going to go rogue and try to solve this issue myself because you guys clearly aren't going to do anything about it. So, he was awesome. I liked him. But Kurt Russell was definitely the best part of the show. It was one of the best Monsterverse things since the first two movies. I like it more than 2014. So I put Kong Skull Island here. I don't think it's as good as Kong Skull Island. But it's in that range too. I'm going to put it here. And Kong Skull Island is between Hedorah and Monarch. That's where Kong Skull Island goes. Godzilla Minus One. Yeah. I know the Monsterverse community and just, I guess the community as a whole is having some resentment and like anger and annoyance that people are like, oh no, people calling Minus One the greatest thing ever is getting annoying. Unfortunately, it's true. I'm pretty sure this is objectively the greatest Godzilla film that's ever come out. It did it right. It did everything right. Everything. The tone, the meanings behind it, the story, the impact, the spectacle. It did everything perfect. Everything perfect. If I were to say it did something wrong, what? I guess there were some moments of the people scenes that could have maybe been cut down a little bit. Like, there are multiple scenes of the main character. I used to know his name. Oh no, I don't know his name anymore. I know everyone else's name still. Minus One, main character name. Shikishima. I haven't seen the movie in a bit. The movie's coming out in streaming soon, though, on Amazon Japan. Which is cool. People are going to probably, like, rip that from Amazon or, like, record it or whatever. Or you can use your VPN and watch it. So that's cool. It's coming to a streaming service where you can watch it in HD, finally, without having to go to a theater. So maybe that'll fix that. But I remember everyone else's name. Yeah, Shikishima. There were a lot of moments in the movie of Shikishima. Just like going through his moments. I think they could have been cut down a little bit, I suppose. But outside of that, like, the rest of the movie was done great. I guess if there's one other thing I changed too is when they're having that board meeting with the ex-Navy and the people that want to become part of the plan, when they get to the moment where they're like uplifting themselves, and it's like, yeah, well, this is better than war times. Yeah, it's like, hey, if anyone can sail these seas, who will it be? I think that could have been a little bit longer. I think watching the people that couldn't do it walk out and leave, and then just instantly going to, oh, wait, no, hold on. We're courageous. Yeah, let's go. I think they could have built that up a little bit longer. It seemed like they jumped to the conclusion of, yeah, we're on board a little too fast. Just a little bit. Because they had the people that were like, I have a family I have to take care of. I already did my time in the war. I can't do this stuff anymore. And then they leave, and the whole room is just filled with dread. And someone just goes, it's better than wartime. And the other guy goes, yeah, we're better at sailing. Yeah, who's with me? Whoa! Like, they could have maybe had a little bit more of, like, maybe a few other people going around the room going, yeah, what about this? Or, yeah, what? And it built up more gradually instead of just instantly jumping to, yeah, we're on board. Godzilla's horrifying in this movie. I wouldn't call it horror, but he's horrifying. Every time he's on screen, you dread for everyone's life. You go, he's going to try and kill everyone. Please don't die. Usually when you watch a Godzilla movie, you go, oh yeah, Godzilla, he's gonna fuck shit up. You watch this movie, you go, oh no, Godzilla's here. I don't want him to hurt these characters I've come to love. When he shows up, you're scared. You're scared for everyone in the movie. You don't want them to get hurt or die. He is a bad omen for these people. He is their punishment. He's going to take their life, and you don't want that. He is handled so well in this movie. There is really nothing objectively bad that this movie does. It is the best Godzilla movie. And for all the people praising it, it deserves all of its praise. As annoying as it might get from the overexposure of its praise, it deserves it. It is the greatest movie this franchise has had. I loved it. The message of life was handled so well that every life has meaning, and no one is put on this planet just to die. You all have a reason to live. He is a kamikaze pilot who was trained and taught, you will die for your country. Your purpose is to end your life. And that's just what he thinks from that point on. The only way I will be truly happy with myself, the only way I will redeem my sins, get rid of my anguish, is if I just die. But I don't want to die. Why can't I be happy without death? And he comes to learn there is value in my life. I do have a reason to stay living. I can cure myself of this sickness without death. And with this heavy emphasis on the preservation of life, watching Godzilla show up and mercilessly take every life away in front of him is tragic. All of these people that survived World War II's bombings, finding one of the only untouched cities in Japan, Godzilla leaves nothing behind. He kills everyone. Nobody escapes, except one main character, and I guess Noriko, but you get the point. He takes no prisoners, essentially. He can't be reasoned with. There is no redemption. He will take lives away. Heartlessly. It is a heavy emphasis on this movie. And it is executed amazingly. My uncle is a very critical person with movies. He indulges movies for what they are as a movie. And usually he doesn't see Godzilla movies in the same way most of us do, in the sense that it's the crazy monster action and stuff. And he'll see that and go, you're damn right, these monster fights are sick as hell. But I just can't get invested that much because the story isn't as strong or thorough as I'd like it to be. Which is a fair point. I absolutely agree. A lot of these movies don't seem like full, real movies to me. They seem like wrestling matches with just a bit of cheapish lore to get to said fights. With some exceptions, of course, like the higher tier movies here. When I told him about this movie and said, you are going to love this. The story is the movie. He was right on board. And my brother came to watch too. This was my second time watching it, but their first time. They were both shocked at how amazing the movie was. I told my brother, hey, how is it? He went, that's the best fucking one. That's the best fucking movie. That's the best movie in this series. He originally thought Shin was the best. He watched this, without a doubt. It was the best one for him. My uncle watched it. He fell in love with the story. It hits so hard. It is an amazing film that deserves all of its praise. It is the #1 Godzilla film as of today. And now we come to Godzilla X Kong, the New Empire. What a comeback story. What a comeback story. Godzilla Minus One came out. The greatest film of all Godzilla time. Just hands down, the greatest piece of art made in this entire franchise. Without a doubt. And we immediately, right after that, get a trailer for the next Monsterverse film. When the last film was really bad. It did well. My first viewing was great. At face value was awesome. Most people in the world that watch this movie aren't diehard Godzilla fans. Most of them weren't watching this movie critically. They went, oh, I'm not a Godzilla fan. I'm probably like Marvel or whatever. I just watch John Wick or whatever. But hey, look, Godzilla vs. King Kong. I know those two characters. I'm going to go watch this movie and see them fight. Whoa, those fighting scenes were sick as shit. A lot of people watched it and they loved it. But the movie itself, especially for a lot of deep Godzilla fans, not that good. Really bad actually. So we just got the greatest film of all time for this franchise. Then like less than a month later, we get the trailer for this one. It is so absolutely fucking jarring. I mean, it was a split. It was a 50-50 split. Half of people were going, holy shit, that is the coolest fucking thing in the world. Godzilla's pink. Kong's got a super glove and there's an evil ape. Oh my god, whoa. This is going to be the coolest action-packed filled thing of all time. This is going to be the peak of this franchise. The other half is going, we just got the most beautiful piece that this franchise has ever given us. What the fuck is this? What in the fuck am I looking at? What the fuck? What did they do to him? What's happening? I thought GVK was bad. What the hell am I looking at? And this was me. This was me seeing these trailers. What in God's name did they do? Toys started coming out. What the fuck? What are they doing? What happened? Are they okay? What was happening when they were making this movie? What are they doing? I was genuinely thinking that this was a movie that was going to be put somewhere like down here. Seeing all these trailers coming out and all this stuff, I'm like, what are they doing? This looks horrible. This looks like they just don't care anymore, and they're just going, fuck the story, fuck everything else. Let's just change them to be completely different and just make it a big toy commercial. And then the director goes, oh, I'm being faithful to Showa. And then everyone's like, yeah, this stuff's just dumb fun, and they're flipping around. It's like the Showa era, right? You know, like when Godzilla does the tail slide, and he does the tail slide, and he flies in Hedorah, and then he does the tail slide, and then he eats the tree, and he does the tail slide, and he does the tail slide. Guys! Ooh. I hate that a lot of the modern community views the Showa era as just the tail slide and nothing else. That the Showa era is just exclusively brainless stupidity and wacky bouncing around and being stupid. That's not the Showa era. That's a very, very small fraction of it in the whole entirety of the Showa era. So then when I see people, even official people, like the director going, yeah, I'm just making things batshit crazy and not caring anymore because I want to be faithful to the Showa films. That made me upset. I was very angry at that. Because that's just going to make everyone else think that too. Newer fans just going, yeah, it is like the Showa era. Because, like, I watched the clip of Godzilla doing the drop kick in Megalon. That was silly. It's not just the funny era. And them saying stuff about this movie and connecting it to the Showa era was pissing me off. I was like, what? No. That's not, you missed the point. Just fucking change Godzilla to whatever the hell you look like. Remove his gut entirely. Change his colors. No. Kong, this big ape that lived on this island. Oh, now he has a fucking robot glove. What the fuck? What are you doing? Stop it! No more of these movies. There were some things that I was looking forward to. Kind of. Scar King's design did not jive with me at first. I still kind of, it could be a little bit better. But it's not horrible to me now. But I saw it and went, ooh. I think they missed with this one. The concept of Scar King leading up to the movie, I thought was a good idea. I thought that was a neat take. We've just been introduced to the Hollow Earth via GVK. Like, we've seen it for the first time. Of course, this movie should be heavily revolving around the Hollow Earth. Makes total sense. In GVK, they hinted at the idea of, oh, there were more Kongs down here. Oh, they aren't here anymore? Kong can't find any? Of course the next movie is going to be about him finding more Kongs. Absolutely. Having the main antagonist be one of those Kongs is smart. Have them be like the last surviving apes, and like there's the evil tyrant ape. That's cool. I like that idea. I liked that. Oh yeah, sorry. Spoilers. For anyone who hasn't seen this movie yet, leave the stream. But I'm going to be talking about GXK now. I'm going to be going fully in depth about this movie. This is going to take a bit. But GXK, yeah. Scar King. I liked that idea. I see the trailers, and he just looks like he's going to be, I am evil, angry tyrant who's going to rule. he did not look threatening or imposing at all. Especially with every single trailer shot of him fighting, he is getting his ass handed to him. Kong fucking rocking him in the face. It was this fist like thicker than any part of Scar King's body. Kong tossing him, and then Godzilla swings him like a fucking baseball. He's getting his ass handed to him in every trailer. He's swinging on a building, Kong just fucking drop kicks him. He did not look threatening at all. There's another monster, Shimo, who the toys were just showing us everywhere, like toys and merchandise. Like, okay, cool. There's a new monster. I don't know why they're trying to hide it in the trailers when it's very clearly here on shelves and merchandise and literally everywhere else. Or I'm like, okay, there's another monster in this movie. I'm seeing leaks and stuff. Okay. I didn't like it at first, but I kind of got over it quickly. There's going to be another monster in here. All right. Then I realized, wait a minute. Giant big reptile and ape. This is just Mario and Luigi versus Wario and Waluigi. This is just Godzilla and Kong versus evil Godzilla and Kong. I was like, what? No way they're doing this. You fucking kidding me? And then I found out Mothra's going to be in this movie. I'm like, what? I mean, why this movie? I mean, seems a little weird, but okay. Then I found out Scylla and Tiamat were going to be in this movie. And I got so mad. I was like, no! Stop it! Let the comic monsters die! KOTM-OCs. Forget them. I don't want to see them ever again. The ones in the comics. Leave them in the comics. I don't want to see them ever again. They are way too overhyped by the fans. No one read those comics. And if you did, those comics weren't good. They really weren't. They were just secondary canon for people who read when they were bored and waiting for the next movie. None of them were good. They were bad. I didn't like a single one of them. The monsters themselves were very dumb. Oh, but in this comic, yeah, that's totally canon or whatever. Yeah, he just fights this cool super serpent that has, like, water-bending powers and, like, acid. And, like, oh, it's strong enough to beat him. It's like, why is there just all of a sudden this random motherfucker who's, like, way stronger than God? That's such OC bullshit. I hate that. I was so upset to hear that Tiamat was going to be in the movie. Scylla, also upset but not so as much, because they were at least in another movie. But then I heard, like, oh, they're just going to fight at the beginning of the movie, and then Tiamat, or Scylla's probably going to lose. I'm like, okay, it's a bit better. They aren't, like, important to the film. I was so not excited for this movie. It looked like it was going to be horseshit. Like, worse than GVK. Like, everything GVK did wrong times 11. Godzilla got a design that I just could not like when I saw it. Nothing it did looked good to me. I fucking hated it. And I realized, is this what he's going to look like for the rest of the Monsterverse? I can't. I just can't do this anymore. I was so pissed at this movie during its build-up. I was not excited. I was upset. I was livid. The more insulting part was that we were getting it right after Minus One. I was so mad. And the only argument I would get from people who are excited, that I think the biggest factor of me hating it was also the community itself. Saying, why can't you just enjoy it for what it's going to be? I'm critical on these movies. I don't want to enjoy them just simply because they exist. I don't want to take a movie and say it's 10 out of 10, regardless of if it's actually good or bad. One of my least favorite sayings ever, especially when regarding these movies, is dumb fun. I hate that phrase. Dumb fun. Especially coming to terms with it. I want my dumb fun movie. I hate that. I hate it. These movies can be fun and colorful and action-packed and entertaining without being dumb or stupid. I can want a Godzilla movie that's fun and action-packed and colorful that isn't dumb. That's just unironically fun, not dumb fun. I want this movie to be dumb fun because it's our dumb fun. It's Godzilla dumb fun. I don't want this movie to be stupid. Why would you want your movie to be stupid? If this movie was leading into the goofiness and it just accepted that, and that's what it went with, that's one thing. If trailers came out and if advertising was whoop, 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 Godzilla, just kooky adventures, what? That's one thing. Trailers and advertising and build-up are going, the ultimate battle for the Hollow Earth, legendary monsters like Godzilla. It's trying to be epic and awesome and badass, but then showing you that it's goofy and ridiculous. That's not how that works. If you're trying to be a stupid movie, that's one thing, because stupid movies can be funny as shit, and they can be liked for being funny as shit, but they don't pretend to be something they aren't. The way this movie was looking to me was that it was trying to be stupid and funny and just, we don't care anymore. Which is one thing. But its voice, it's dressed, look at it this way. It's a person who's dressed absolutely ridiculous. They're literally wearing a clown outfit. They're dressed like a clown. But they walk into the room, look at everyone with some dead, cold, serious, badass stare, and they're trying to act like they're the Doomslayer. Like, alright everyone, I've entered the room. If I hear any whatevers, you're going to get punched. You can't be epic and badass and cool or whatever, while also being stupid and goofy and ridiculous. That's what this movie looked like it was going to be to me. And the community backing that up really upset me, where it's like, why can't you just like, I want my goofy, stupid movies. Why do you want a stupid movie? And then also say this is awesome or what? It makes me think the majority of the community voice that I hear has no idea what they're talking about, because they'll say one thing, like, I want my goofy, silly movie, implying that they just want a goofy, silly movie. They don't care about it actually being cool or awesome, or they just want it to be goofy, silly. But then someone else talks, someone who knows what they want, saying that they looked at it and say that it's action-packed, it looks cool and epic. And then those same people just go, yeah, cool and epic, yeah, it's not cool, I just actually think it's cool and epic. It's like, you're just backing up the person who's saying the movie's good. You don't care what the actual thing they're saying is. You just care that it's something positive towards the film. Your actual opinion that you have on the film will change every 2 seconds just to join the bandwagon of the people that are excited for the film, which infuriated me. It made me think everyone who was arguing with me didn't even know what they were talking about. So I got livid. The movie comes out. The Day of Reckoning. I didn't see it yet. I saw the leaks, though. I needed the leaks to get some kind of entertainment. Or, no, not even. Some incentive to want to watch the movie. I made sure to not watch everything. But I saw a lot of pretty important parts. Anyways. Because this isn't a movie that I need to go in spoiler-free. I know that when I'm going to watch this movie, any spoilers I see are just going to be X character does this in a fight. That's not spoiling anything. I know they're going to fucking fight. I don't care if I get spoiled, like, oh, but in this scene he's going to, like, do a triple spin and punch him Skarking in the face. Like, I don't fucking care. Did I really need to keep that spoiler free? I don't care. Unlike Minus One, where there's actual story worth staying away from until you see it. This one is just, oh no, they're going to do this in the fight? Like, who cares? Anyways. Then I actually do see the movie, though. I see the movie. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. It was... I liked it. Now, at first, I was like, hold on a minute. This has happened to me twice already. This has happened to me twice. Where I watched a Monsterverse movie for the first time. Went, oh shit. This is an awesome ass movie. I had a ton of fun. And then later on I watch it and go, ooh, I really did not like that. So I was a bit skeptical at first. I was like, okay, I had fun as shit watching this movie. But I'm going to be a bit lenient here. I could hate it eventually. It could just be a hype train or whatever, but the fact I switched so fast from this movie is pissing me off. I want to strangle this movie by the neck and watch its life fade from its eyes to I liked what I just watched. It's crazy. And I keep thinking about the movie. I've been thinking about it repeatedly. I think it was handled way better than GVK. The primary reason being the story. Like I said with GVK, it was a primarily fighting movie, and they made the story a very long one that they cut down to leave the scraps behind, which became a horribly paced, horribly told story. XK, on the other hand, they knew from the beginning, we gotta make a short and sweet story that doesn't need much human moments to work. So we can focus primarily on the monsters. And they did it. They did it. It worked. By the time the movie came out, I came to terms with some things. Godzilla spikes are pink. Okay. Kong has a glove. Okay. Like, one thing I still don't really know if I like, Godzilla's stomach. I still think I don't like that. But Godzilla's pink, okay. The other few changes to his design, okay, I don't mind. Godzilla running, I never hated that to begin with. Don't worry, we're going to keep talking about GXK for a while. I've only just gotten to the part where I actually watched the movie. But, yeah, I've come to terms with a lot of that. I've come to terms with Shimo. I've come to terms with Scar King. I've come to terms with Kong. I've come to terms with a lot of this stuff. I couldn't be angry for so long. I had to just stop and go, okay, whatever. I can't keep being mad at this movie. And then I watched it. And I had fun. It was good. There were things I liked. Of course, the fights were awesome. There were plenty of them in there. Seeing the Kong Nation, or whatever, the Kong tribe, that was cool. Seeing them all working and enslaved, and then Kong shows up. He's like twice the size of everyone. And he's like the first positive thing that's ever happened to them ever. That one Kong drops the rock and gets like hit in the face. And then Kong just walks over and helps him up, and he's like, wait, what the fuck? Are you helping me? It's like, just take my hand. Just take my hand. Okay. Thanks. Lots of people like the monster scenes, even when they aren't fighting, just simply because the monster's on the screen, and then that's it, right? Like, oh, monster stuff, woo, monster, yeah, blah. The reason I admire those scenes the most, like of just Kong just doing shit, even when it isn't fighting, is because Show don't tell is one of my favorite things you can do in any media. Whether it's a movie, a show, a video game, or anything. Show don't tell is my favorite thing ever. It's so artistic. It really gets points home without having to baby feed you, without like reading it to you. You take it in for the way you perceive it. That entire sequence of Kong with the other apes, there isn't a single piece of dialogue. It's just animal noises and gestures. And it worked. They handled that so well. In Egypt, when Kong and Godzilla fight, no dialogue, just them talking. Godzilla's about to win. Mothra shows up, and she stands on top of the Sphinx. Godzilla doesn't say anything. He just looks at Gia and goes, "Oh, you're there." She's probably talking to him telepathically. He still looks rather confused. His eyes gesture up a little bit, and he looks over at Mothra, who's staring right back at him. And she's saying something to him. And whatever she said, he's on board now. They just looked at each other and made noises. It wasn't, "Whoa, Mothra, you're here too?" "Yes, Godzilla, I'm back. You need to listen to this." "Shut up! I can figure this out myself, thank you." And I'm glad that's what they did. Shimo. You could tell Shimo wasn't happy, that they didn't like being under Scar King's control. There was never, "Oh, and the animal Shimo is under Scar King's control against their will, and Scar King forces..." You just watch it happen. Scar King grins, takes Crystal, man. Shimo goes, "Mrr," drags their head across the ground. They clearly don't like it. They make pouty noises. They try to you can tell they aren't happy. Scar King was awesome. Like I said, all the trailers made him be like, "Oh, I'm this ultimate warlord, and I'm gonna kill everyone. I'm super powerful." And he gets ass kicked in every fucking trailer. The personality he has in the movie is perfect for him. He is pathetic. He is such a coward. He's such a mustache twirler villain. "You fucker. You hang out with the humans. I'm gonna take over the world." "No! My crystal! Give it back to me! My source of power!" He is perfect. I think my least favorite part of the movie was Bernie. I really did not like him. They had a cool thing going for him in one scene of the movie where he's recording everything because he's like the podcast or whatever. He's kind of annoying. It's like, man, I really don't like this guy. He just gets in the way of fucking everything. Then Trapper talks to him and he's like, "Why don't you just put the camera away and just take the moment for what it is?" And then Bernie actually brings up a pretty good point. He says something along the lines of, "I was there to save the day in Hong Kong. I was there when Godzilla attacked Pensacola. I was looking deep into the creation of Mechagodzilla. Everything I predicted was correct. I was right about everything from the moment I started. I was right about everything, and no one believed me. And no one's gonna believe me now either." Imagine going through all of this stuff, being correct about everything, and still nobody believes you. And he just really needs that proof to show everyone that he was here. He did do this. He is right. That is a really cool thing to go through. That is genuinely understandable for someone in his position, in his circumstance. I really liked that. And then Trapper sits down with him and he's like, "No one else may believe you. But as long as you know what you did to save the world was important, no one can take that away from you. You know that what you did was very important. That you were an amazing infiltrator. You found this stuff out. You did great. I was like, wow, that's really cool. And then Bernie just shits on the situation. Could you say that one more time? Hold on, I gotta pull out my camera. I gotta record you saying that because I want that clip of you saying I'm like super cool and awesome, and I want to put that on my podcast. I'm like, are you? There goes that scene. No more feelings towards him anymore. He's just the asshole for content creation. I'm like, man, you had something there. I could have forgiven all the annoying shit he did before if that scene worked out. If that was like Birdie's character arc, where it's like, you know what? You're right. I don't need everyone to see this. I just need to know that what I did was special. It doesn't matter what everyone else thinks about me. I know that what I did was special, and no one can take that away from me. That could have been cool. I would have really liked that. But no, they pooped on that idea, and I did not like that. But the movie was actually handled very well. I really liked it. So where does GXK go? I think it goes here. There's two parts of the Monsterverse I see. There's... the way I quote it on Discord, it's... there's the original movies, and then the movies when it sucked. Like, there's the Monsterverse when it was good, and then there's the Monsterverse when it started sucking. The former being 2014 and KSI, and then the latter just being everything else. And someone asked me, like when I watched GXK, they're like, what did you think? And I said, I think the best way to word it is that it's the best movie in the franchise once it started sucking. It's the best Monsterverse movie in the era of the movies being bad. Because this one is... I can rewatch this movie and not think it's dumb. I can rewatch this movie and go, man, that was fun. And by fun, I don't just mean the fights were epic and I mean like the movie as a movie is fun. It's not awesome fights. Now I gotta go through weird brainless shit and then another awesome fight. It's fights, cool stuff, fighting, more interesting people stuff, fighting. You're having fun the whole movie. And one more thing I forgot to bring up. Scylla and Tiamat. I was talking about how pissed I was that they're going to be in this movie. You have no idea how happy I was that they just got smoked. The fights could have gone a little bit longer. I think they could have gone longer. The fights could have been a little bit longer. But the fact that they were so one-sided and so unfair, I think was perfect. That was perfect. Godzilla needed to be one-sided. They had to stand zero chance against him. Zero chance. They could have lasted longer, like maybe been a bit more defensive, like, oh, he's going to come at me. Okay, I'll move out of the way and not just stand there like an idiot and let him kill me. They could have lasted a bit longer. But I'm happy at how one-sided those fights were. The fact that they took Tiamat, this ridiculous comic book monster that was apparently like super fucking strong and crazy and powerful. I'm like, oh, they're one of the coolest monsters in the franchise. They have water-bending powers and like acid and shit. And then the movie comes out and they're in it. They took away all of Tiamat's powers. Tiamat has no more of those superpowers. Tiamat can't waterbend. They don't have acid. They don't have all the superpower. They're just a generic kaiju. I loved that. Tiamat's design changed. I did not like it in the comics. I liked how more simplistic it was in the movie. Oh, it had a very like flower aesthetic. They actually had limbs. It was less chaotic. It was just, I'm just a sea serpent. And it worked. You didn't need to be anything special. You didn't need to be some crazy lore superpower monster that did all this important shit. You just needed to be the monster that sat in the place Godzilla needed. And he needed your location. And you're territorial. You tried to fight him. You're not Godzilla, so you got smoked. And I loved that. They took away all the wacky, overpowered shit Tiamat had in the comics. They're just another Titan. Godzilla disposed of them quickly. I liked that. It could have gone for a little longer, but it should have been that unfair. Same with Scylla. Scylla showed up. Apparently, they just weren't obeying Godzilla's rule to stay in hiding. They attacked Rome. Godzilla responds, "You weren't listening to me? Okay, well, here's your punishment. I'm going to kill you." I didn't need a fight. I didn't need Scylla to actually injure him back or anything. It just needed to be, "Come over here. I'm going to fucking destroy you." And that's what happened. They're gone. Now, we also don't need to worry about that anymore. Going, another Monsterverse movie coming. Oh, can we see Scylla? Or, oh, can we see Tiamat? They're gone. They're dead. We never have to hear about them ever again. I kind of want a movie to just say in the background, all those other Titans are dead. Because I really don't want them to just suddenly just make appearances in movies when they don't need to. They don't matter anymore. They aren't significant to the story. We don't need to see them anymore. Behemoth? No. Amuluk? No. Methuselah? No. Sekhmet? Baphomet? Abaddon? No. We don't need them anymore. I don't want to see them anymore. What other ones are there? There's Kele Mbembe, Yamato no Orochi, I guess. Like, people are like, oh, speculation time. Is this monster really important? Because it's like multi-headed dragon. No! They aren't gonna matter. No! They are not significant anymore. The Monsterverse has nothing to do with these monsters anymore. I don't want to see them again. Yeah, Nakika. Is that the one that was like in the net in the comic or whatever? Anyways, yeah, I don't want to see them anymore. You made them, you wasted them, good riddance. I don't want to see them anymore. They're pointless. Especially if they're just going to die in 2 seconds. Like, I don't want to see them anymore. They hold no significance to the overarching story. But we've done it. This is Psychronize's tier list. But wait! Fuck, what color do I make it? Blue for Atomic Breath. Remember what I said? What was I going to call it, though? The greatest this franchise has to offer. There was no S tier when making this tier list, because I wanted to nail the idea home to you guys. That S tier isn't just the tier that you fill everything in. Oh, I like this movie. Okay, S tier. I like this movie a lot. It was really fun. S tier. And then you have like 17 S tiers, and then you just ruin the entire point of S tier. You ruined it. That's not the point of S tier. It's not just, oh, these are all the ones I like the most. Everything goes... That's what A tier's for. A tier's for all the ones that you think are the greatest movies. S tier, think of it like homework. A 100% is an A. That's the best you can get, A. S tier is school's over. Teacher goes, hey, I want to see you after class. It's like, okay, what's up, teacher? I cannot fathom to explain in words just how beautiful your essay was. It is the greatest thing I've ever read my entire career here as a teacher. This is going to mean a lot to me, even when I retire as a teacher. Your assignment that you turned in was marvelous. You went above and beyond by a significant margin. You hold a special place. Everyone else still did amazingly. They got perfect A's. But you just wowed me to an extent that no one else could. That's S tier. S tier is extremely exclusive. Very, very little should be in there. It is reserved for the best of the best of the best. Which is why when I made this list, I didn't even want to think about it. Because I know people would just go, oh, I really like that movie. Just put it in the top one. That's not the point. It's for the extremely reserved, beautifully executed movies. Above the best. So now it's here, and now I can apply them. And I think the way that's going to go is just those two. I was really debating putting Mechagodzilla 2 here. But I just don't think it has that little extra oomph that it has to be considered that perfect piece, above perfect piece of artwork. And again, now you look at this and psychologically you go, what? There's something wrong with this movie. Man, it's not the greatest. Doing this whole tier list, this was the highest tier you can get. This is still an amazingly made film, and I still love it. It is still an amazing film that I love from start to finish. It is a gorgeous film. And so are all of these ones. It's why it's called the best. It's just that these two films give such... It's hard to describe. It's just so much more rich of fascination and flow. It is an A film that just keeps going further. It reached the top and just kept going. They were borderline perfect. And there you have it. Psychronize's tier list of Godzilla films. I'll probably just start posting this image everywhere I am and see what people think. And I'm probably going to be too tired to explain it to them, so we'll go, why would you place that there? Well, watch my stream. I have them all in release order, so just watch the streams and try to figure out when I talk about this movie. And you will figure it out, why I put it where it is. But with that, this is the Psychronize Godzilla film tier list. And we have gone an hour above our usual streaming time. But I think that's fine. The Monsterverse and the Reiwa were going to be the heaviest topics. For sure. We needed time to talk about these. And I'm glad we did. And I'm glad I didn't rush through them. But there you have it. Now, like I said, I didn't eat before stream like I usually do. So I'm going to eat after stream. But it's getting late, and I want to get food before everything closes. So I'm going to try to quickly get out of here so I can get something to eat before I'm not able to anymore. I'm pretty sure the sandwiches in my fridge are expired, so I have to throw those out. I can't eat those. But, yeah. College has been a nightmare recently. I've been stressed out like crazy. Only a few weeks left until the semester's over, and I have so much work to catch up on. There's so much work I just haven't done yet. And I've had to email some of my professors saying, look, I know the semester's almost over and I've barely gotten anything in, but I don't want to withdraw from my class. I know that's an option. I don't want to. I believe I can get enough stuff done to pass this class. And then they'd respond and they'd go, Psychronize, we understand. It's not just you. We know everyone else on campus is struggling just like you. And that surprised me. But they'd say stuff like, I've been working here for 5 years, and I've never seen a more stressful year for students. So it's not just a me thing. It's the entirety of campus. Another one of my classes, I barely have anything submitted. It's like, we have this assignment we did since, like, February. It's like, yeah, I haven't done it yet. And they're like, more than half the class hasn't done it either. So I'm like, okay, it's not just me. It's not just me slacking off and being lazy. It's a genuine issue that a lot of other people are having as well. So, yeah. I usually talk to a lot of people. I told them, hey, I think we just got to stop talking for a bit. Not like I don't like you or anything. It's just, I got to lock in for these last few weeks. I got to lock in. So I think if we can just give me a break. I'll talk to you once the semester's over, and I'll tell you how things went, but I just no distractions. I gotta just get my shit done. And they're like, okay, I'll see you in 3 weeks. So, now that this stream's over, I'm gonna watch Spy Family tomorrow. I got a ticket for that. I'm gonna watch the Spy Family Code White in theaters tomorrow. I'm excited for that. I gotta reward myself somehow for all my work I've been doing. And I found out that they're going to be playing that in theaters. So I really want to see that. But, yeah, I'm going to watch that movie. And then for the last few weeks until, like, May 9th or 10th or whatever, I'm just going to be busting my ass off, working on whatever I can. I'm going to get this shit done. And then summer's going to show up. I'm going to move into my apartment with my brother again. Gonna try to be a server at Olive Garden, make much more money this time. I was a host last year, and I didn't make much money. But if I'm a server, I could make significantly more, and it will be beneficial. So yeah, and then that'll happen. I'll set up my computer stuff in the apartment, and hopefully we'll get to start streaming again, and I'll get to upload more. So I'm looking forward to that. But, like, if you guys seen my posts after this stream, you probably aren't going to see me for a bit. I might post stuff in the community posts on this channel. You'll see me in Discord probably every now and then, but I'm going to be busy. Doing college work and then moving and then getting hired again. I'm going to be doing stuff. But I'm going to try to get back to you guys and making content as fast as I can. Because you guys are awesome. I love you guys. And I still owe you guys a Ghidorah review. And I still owe another guy who commissioned something for me a video. I feel bad for that. He keeps commissioning other stuff for me, though, like just posters, and I'm able to make those very quickly, so that makes up for it. And he's still proud of the stuff I do, and he's thankful. Which is nice. I've got a lot on my plate, you guys. I'm making it happen, though. I'm not giving up. That's one thing I don't do. But, yeah, I'm going to get out of here. I hope you guys liked the tier rankings these past few weeks. I'd say I'm rather proud with how it turned out. If you guys have certain stances, you are free to show me. You can post them in my Discord server. I'd like to see what you guys think for the movies. but I'd like to see you guys try and do the rules that I applied, where don't have an S tier, then make an S tier, don't load it. Like, genuinely think what is above the best. Like, really reserve the higher tiers for the things that deserve it, instead of just what I usually see on Discord, where it's like S tier, everything. A maybe has like 4, and then B, C, D have like nothing, and then like 1 and F. Like, really think about it. But yeah, I am done now. I'd stay more to talk about the figures and the highlights, but I just can't. I already concluded the stream. I'm hungry as piss. I gotta go. So yeah, I'll see you guys, Lord knows when. Soon, hopefully. You all have a good time and take care. And good night. Bye. Mwah. Mwah. How do I... Microphone off. Mwah. Okay, one more. Mwah. No more.